All right, so where we left off, after returning to the Crow Fort with the scales of Sek, you hid them in the library and prepared to set out for the Wuad Plains and where the crashed nautiloid ship is at. Um, presumably to go to the capital after, but at least to go investigate the ship as Ozzy had requested. From there, and I will go ahead and move us over to that map. All right. So you guys had just kind of, wrapped up the conversation with Ozzy, but I figured we'd go ahead and start here in case there was anything else you guys needed to do to prepare before you leave. Ozzy is making his way out.
No, we're taking the scales with us when we go this time, right? Because we're burying it where we're going now.
Yeah, but we got to sleep on it first. We don't have the energy to be able to walk through a tree until we get a good night's rest.
It's 8 a.m. by the way, so
fucking A!
You guys slept like 3 hours ago.
Yeah. It's so strange
I
when
can
you
use the circle to get us there.
I mean, I don't mind using the circle to get us there. Oh well, I mean,
I've got gonna grow a tree next to where the circle was to bury the thing under.
Physically, I feel very good, but like emotionally, I feel like I've got half my spells available. You know? Does that make sense?
If I were to emotionally have spell slots, they'd be at about half right now.
Yeah, I'd be about half of my emotional spell ability. I don't think I've got and I'm like gonna string my banjo. I just don't feel it today. You know, I'm 50% as far as production value is concerned, I suppose. I don't mind.
I think we were going to take a short rest to partially recharge and then use the circle, and then I was going to make a tree once we got there.
Didn't we just take a short rest right before we finished last week?
Yeah, I mean, only Nazim and Sarah actually applied their short rest, so the rest of you can go ahead and apply yours already. I assume that during the, kind of conversation with Ozzy and some rest time afterwards, that you at least had an hour to do so. So if you wanted to adjust, attuned items or anything like that, you can certainly do so. As for making a tree when you get there, though, Fox, you guys wouldn't be able to get a long rest until, like 9, 10 p.m. And it's like
making the tree doesn't really cost much because it's
Yeah, you can totally do that. I don't mean that. I just mean you guys wouldn't be able to get the benefits of a long rest until tonight. It's still.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Well,
I thought we were just growing a tree to bury the thing under as like a marker.
Yeah, and then we were gonna try and
I misunderstood. Gotcha.
Then we were gonna try and go see that ship thing.
Yep. Okay. I misunderstood. I thought you were saying you were gonna make a tree house. Your sleeping tree.
Oh no, not a tree house. Just a tree to bury the thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, a bit different.
Yep.
Out of curiosity, does the tree that the tree house is in just completely disappear the next morning, if I remember correctly?
Nope, it's there forever. The dome disappears.
That's also a tree.
Yeah.
Can you cast that separate from, building an entire tree?
I mean, it's the same thing. Either of them, she's growing a tree. It doesn't really make any difference.
I know she said you couldn't do the tree until tomorrow, right? But could you make a tree house today?
No, I can make the tree today. I can't make the tree house to sleep in because I'm stuck in it for the duration, but I could make a tree. I just can't travel through the trees again today.
That's what it was. All right. I knew there was something about that we couldn't do.
What are you guys doing?
All right, fuck it. Let's go ahead and use the portal to go back. We might as well check out this thing that Nazim's so interested in. Good news is the scales are very safely stored behind a bookshelf. Oh, wait, are we bringing them though?
You know what? I'm just going to do the hour-long one since we're in the keep.
Okay.
So you guys got an hour.
Are you taking the scales then?
Yeah, I mean we're going to bury them, right?
All right. The Norok's not invisible anymore.
Yeah, but I'm doing the circle right here.
Well, you could.
But I don't think that the scales aren't here, are they?
The scales are in the central keep, not here in the kettle keep. But you guys could. I mean, you could just draw the circle in the teleportation room and go out from there. Basically, there isn't anybody in there for you to expect, anyways, to be able to see it. You could do it in the library, really, if you wanted to.
All right, let's go do that then. So wherever, because we left the scales in Ozzy's library behind a bookcase, right?
Correct. Yeah, inside the central keep. Yeah.
Then we'll just make sure he's okay with that and draw the circle there then, so we don't have to move the scales around too much.
Okay. There's plenty of room. Yeah, you know there wouldn't be any issue. Is there any other preparations you guys need to do before you leave?
So since we've got to wait an hour here. Whose Pearl of Power is this? I borrowed this from someone. I don't remember who it was.
Mine, but I think I have too much shit attuned already. Oh, that's right, because I have the Amulet of Expel still on.
So I've got a few things too, and I've got this nice new ocarina. I didn't have this last time really. This is new, and I like that I've got these bracers now. And the Lithic of Life thieving is very convenient. So the Pearl of Power, I mean, I don't need it. I don't mind holding on to it if no one else wants it. It basically gives you a spell slot back.
To 5, I think. Up to 3.
Up to level 3. So 3rd level. And then you can only use it once a day. So it's all right, and it requires. It's not the greatest. It's like I was thinking perhaps a day like it would be nice. Like today, I gave myself a new power, but then after I did that, I just went ahead and I'm gonna unequip it and I'm gonna equip something else. So I just didn't want to be greedy.
Just to point something out, if you cared to do this, not that it would be a great usage of time, but you could potentially, attune it the night before, and then use it to give yourself a spell slot back, and then unattune and attune something else.
That's what I did. I had it attuned from before,
Okay.
and then I used it to get a spell slot back, and then I reattuned my Lithic of Life thieving afterwards.
Okay.
So I'm not using it, and I have, because I still have a Hat of Disguise as well, which I enjoy using, but I don't think we're going to need it in the desert. Trying to, I'm not going to be trying to. I wouldn't know what to turn into if I wanted to for this next adventure, and I still have some of my knitting needles, which are nice because I can make Geppetto when I need him. But besides that, I'm just bringing it up.
Do we have the keys and everything? Everything's ready to go before we head out?
I think Sarah has them. The 3 keys for
I
the
think we
door.
put them in the bag of holding.
Okay.
So we do have them.
Super heavy.
I don't even remember what keys we're talking about, but all right, yes.
The ones that look like,
things.
yeah, they're cylinders with a little floating spiral around them.
Spirals. Yeah. One quick thing, I have a Xanthos' jawbone. Have I taken a moment to take a look at it closely to see if it has
So nobody else
anything?
knows you have that. So
Yeah, we don't know what that is.
Yeah, which is fine. I don't think it's really going to hurt anything that anybody else knows about it. But nobody else knew that you had that. But no, you haven't. You haven't spent any time with it.
Okay.
That object that I just showed to everybody is those keys, Justin. Real quick too, it's not a desert. I know I've said this like 5 times. You guys know what a steppe is, right? Like the Serengeti, or like an African plain.
The Serengeti, not desert.
Okay, so the Serengeti isn't desert. It's a steppe. I mean, there's probably, I'm sure there's desert parts of the Serengeti. Anyways, it's a plain. It's grass with like scrub trees and shit like that. It's not.
Savannah.
Yeah, savannah. That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry guys, I got my biomes wrong.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's really not a huge difference there. But yeah, it's a little more temperate than that.
It's that whole niche environment.
All right. So you guys teleporting out then?
I mean, I don't feel too bad. I could go. Oh! Before we go, real quick, you're definitely planning on using those arrows, right? From that quiver you have.
I said you could borrow it until I return the sage's
I just
thing.
thought I would like. Do you mind if I try it? Do you mind if I try it out on this short rest? I can get comfortable with it. Take a couple pot shots. Figure out if I can use it comfortably.
You borrow it until I return the sage's chorus, but it's
No, that's
borrow.
fine. I feel like right now, since I'm a little emotionally unstable from the previous thing, I might as well have this is a nice backup option.
Is that a guilt trip? Is that what that was?
No, I feel that I decided that my charisma factor with my spell slots is determined on my emotional how exhausted I am.
Okay.
It's just easier because there's not a good like medium for like
real world representation of what spell slots are.
Yeah. So I feel like that's a good one for my character.
Sure.
No, do you mind? I'll just borrow it. You can have it back if you ever need it, or you can get off my corpse if I die. It's fine too. I don't mind.
You gonna let him borrow it, Artemy?
Yeah, I'm gonna let him borrow it for a bit. It's just because do you know how awesome it is to have flaming poison arrows? Without me having
I
to
didn't
use
realize
a spell
until
to
you
make
gave
them
it to
into
that child.
poison.
Yeah. I got jealous. I was just pulling poison flaming arrows out of it. I'm like, all right, well that was cool. I could use that in an act for sure.
Yeah, but I have to put the flaming arrow spell on it.
Well, if we're in a situation, I'll let you know, and you can toss it on. But I mean, otherwise,
Just still poison without that.
The basic crossbow is just not quite as exciting as it would be if it had that.
All right.
I appreciate
it. You can use a little give item thing, Fox, to share it over to Pogo if you want. I'll wait till you do that, because if I try to change scenes in the middle of it, I'm not sure it'll work. It might break.
Let me just find it.
Should we go at 8:30?
Talking to me?
Oh, I was talking to Leah. She asked what time we were finished.
Yeah. Yeah, unless we get a...
I clicked it, but oh, there we go.
Can I finish?
Try... Oh, yeah, that works, Sako.
Yeah, it just took a second for it to pop up.
I don't know what the fuck Ben was just doing, but that shit made me giggle.
He was doing... like one of our favorite stand-up comedy specials of all time was Dana Carvey's special from like '92 or something like that, and he's making fun of George Bush Senior, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Is there a scene in that one where it's like chopping broccoli?
Yes, that's where that comes from. Yes,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah. So he was singing a really obscure song. Well, not even song, but Dana Carvey like singing this little silly ditty of an SNL skit from like the '80s. So it was a whole lot of layers of weird obscure reference that like only I'd probably remember. Very few people would ever remember.
That's funny that I know exactly what you're talking about now.
Yeah, from that skit. Yeah.
It's like chopping broccoli.
That's a good one.
Who was supposed to get the snake bolt quiver? Because
For me, we
Oh,
were just talking
whoops.
how many people sound like
I just
me
had
on here.
He said it to Sarah.
There can't be more people.
Yeah, I selected from the drop-down list. I selected Pogo and I hit send, and it still sent it to Sarah instead.
I'll
No
send it to
biggie.
him.
Yeah, there might be a
Like,
bug in
it's like
that.
I'm still showing up as like on her broom or something weird. Like, oh hey, look at that! Thanks, Sarah.
Yep. Alright, and then I'm gonna delete this oh no.
Yeah.
I needed it anyway.
Yeah, it should automatically delete it, but if you have two of them listed in your inventory, Justin, you can just edit one.
Cool. And I'm gonna go
Alright.
ahead and look at that equipped here too.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing that during the short rest anyways, that's fine. I'll go ahead and move us over. I did not grab that scene that I meant to. Let me grab that scene first.
16 pounds for a quiver?
It's a solid, I think it was solid gold if I remember right, case. So it's pretty big. We'll go to there. Right. Everybody jumps over to the step, to the Savannah style area. Oh, did I remove? I must have gotten rid of that audio track for this one. Let me find one real quick. That one. Oh, right there. It's not nighttime, but that's still fine. That's fine, Sako. We'll come to that here in a bit. All right, but Sarah finishes the incantation. Norok grabbing the frame that you had hid for the last hour and a half or so behind the library bookcase, throwing it over your back. You can stand in the middle of the circle and it'll snap up around you, so you don't feel like you need to kind of carefully crab walk through it the way that you did through the doors or through the tree rather. But you do reappear somewhat nauseous on the plains, and since nobody had apparently thought of this ahead of time, the last time you fell through this circle, do you remember what happened?
We fell. We literally fell.
Yeah, and Norok is not just himself now; he's also carrying 85 pounds of a giant frame on his back. That, I mean, it's not indestructible, but certainly heavy and could be damaged. As you all plummet down through the circle, everybody give me dex saves except for Norok.
I wasn't worried about the deck save.
My floaty thing doesn't protect me from this.
Actually, for you it would, because you can automatically react to levitate yourself down. Anybody that wants to use a reaction for something like Featherfall, that's fine. Otherwise, yeah, it'll be deck save.
I will use Featherfall on Norok.
Okay.
I can do. Hang on, I can do all of them.
I'm just gonna do a backflip as I fall out of this hole.
Yeah, I mean, everybody else, yeah, potentially could, take some, because it's not that high, but...
5 falling creatures. So
Okay.
I'll just everybody.
and one has a room anyways if you guys chose to use it. But for all of you, then, as you realize, of course, at the very last second, just a little bit too late to save yourself the pain or resource cost, as you come plummeting out of this 90-degree vertical circle and start plummeting towards the ground. Sarah captures everybody in a feather fall, and you slowly settle your way to the ground without damaging the scales either, because there was a chance of damaging the frame for the scales, which would have made it even harder to carry around. So, but you are on the circle outside, or on the ground now, below the circle outside of Dunbree, the kind of ruins. Let me go ahead and turn the weather off because I didn't realize that fog was gonna blow that whole scene up like that. Outside of Dunbree, though, it is quiet. The ground is still just destroyed with the trampling of the tribe of the Ahiga orcs and the centaur that had been here, the Iola, I think they were, the centaur tribe that were here. But it is otherwise quiet and clear.
I'm going to immediately check. I want to run up on a little hill if I can and look around and see if I see any of the people or the things that were here before when we were during that massive brawl in the desert the plains.
All biomes are deserts from now on.
Yeah.
Swamps, deserts, all the same thing.
The problem is I see this picture that you put up here, and it looks like a desert.
Well, that's fair.
I get it.
This picture I
It's
used
not.
looks like an Arizona desert for sure. But yeah, I mean, so that picture isn't a great representation either. It was just one that I found at the time to use for a VA. But yeah, that's closer to desert than an actual steppe. But anyway, go ahead and give me a perception check.
Let's look around and see if anyone's still here. It's been about 12 days?
10 days? 10 or 11 days, yeah. Yep. You're already kind of up top of a slope anyways, where the ruins of this watchtower were that has broken in half where that circle had been. The circle was on an upper floor that has collapsed through, hence it being, at a 90-degree angle. But anyways, this ruined tower is already kind of up on top of a hill, so you have a decent vantage point to look around. You do see two different kind of trampled trails that lead in and out of this, like roads almost, that lead out towards Dunbree here, where clearly the two kind of primary tribes that still had people left had either arrived or left via. But you don't see any people. No, nothing sapient. There's plenty of apex deer. There's smaller animals. You see hares and jackrabbits all over the place, but you don't see anything that would be intelligent necessarily.
I was hoping maybe some of your tribe would still be here, or maybe some of the other people, but no, they've all left, guys. I don't see anything.
I will point out, though, since you rolled decently enough, you don't see the column of smoke to the northwest anymore. So when you guys had originally, yeah, exactly, when you'd originally arrived here, that's what Nazim had been kind of transfixed by, was that column of smoke. And it seems like the smoke is gone. Now, it has been 10 days, so, of course, it's likely that whatever it was had burned out. But
your that ship you were so interested in, it might not be on fire anymore. Maybe it's, maybe someone repaired it or stole it. Sand people might have stolen that ship you were so interested in.
Nazim probably didn't hear it because he's already floating in the direction of where the ship was. He's already taken it upon himself to start floating away.
We can't all be
scales.
As I'm running through the fucking shit, trying to catch up to Nazim as he's floating.
Well, you know what? It's fine. They can't get into it anyways because I'm gonna stay with Artemis so she can do the tree so we can bury this thing. She has keys.
Yep.
I'm gonna follow Nazim until we're like 100 feet away from the rest of the group, and then I'm gonna stop and just kind of look back and forth. I have no idea which.
Like a little kid that doesn't know which direction to go.
I don't know. So I'm just gonna kind of keep slowly walking after Nazim as he's heading there, and but also kind of wants to hang out with the rest of the group. So that's where I'm at.
Okay. It doesn't take for this kind of tree. It's only one action for that, but I think we talked about it. It's 10 minutes, right, to grow a tree.
Yeah, or something.
To
Yeah.
grow one.
I'm using weed plants over and over and over and over again to grow it.
So you know from previous experience of watching this process, to grow a workable tree anyways takes for about 10 minutes. she's not trying to grow the big kind like she was doing at Crow Fort to make, shade essentially. Just one large enough to walk through. So, it'll be a few minutes at least. Nazim, are you going to continue floating in that direction?
Yep, I'm at my maximum 2 feet floating and.
Well, it's 2 feet up. It's not 2 feet per round. You're still 30 feet per round. So.
2 feet floating, up in the air, and I'm just slowly floating towards the area that the ship was, just kind of transfixed on the horizon because I know that's where I'm headed.
Okay. I'll tell you that you do still feel like it's there, even though you don't see the smoke anymore. You know exactly where it is, and know the direction to go. You know what? I had a quick fill-in thing for the information that Fox had. Fox, while you're growing the tree there, you can recount the details of the history of the Kings of Old Vabby, Volume 2, that you were reading if you wanted to.
Sure.
All right, so that information, then the stuff that you found on Sobek. Sobek was the Tegura that you guys spoke with, the one that had raised, that had given you the scales. Sobek died approximately 20,700 years ago, so that's 20700, not 2,700, but 20,700, which is about 18.4 thousand years before the humans arrived on Ur. When the old Vabians, that were mostly the Yuan-Ti and the Volk that I told you about before, rebelled and killed the Great Serpent of Autumn, they continued to overthrow the Tegura kings. There was a drawing in the book there that Arteme kind of recites to you guys, or you can show it to him if you chose to, Fox. But
yeah, I'll show it. It'd be easy.
Okay, it's just a bas relief that archaeologists had found in a pyramid at Ossurai in the Dead South, and the drawing depicts what is supposed to be the assassination of Sobek. This was just a big relief that had been carved into the walls there, but. You see in the picture there that there's probably at least 30, maybe 3 dozen or so Yuan-Ti, and then half again as many Volk that are lying dead at his feet, that he'd clearly just been carving through as they'd attempted to assassinate him. But a single Volk is leaping through the air from behind him with a spear that is aimed at the back of Sobek's neck, and it's just that kind of frozen picture of that, which is supposed to be when he died. But since the Tegura were a long-lived and slow to procreate species, their population was too thin to bounce back, so the species went quickly extinct after the kind of populist overthrow. The other information in the book there that she found, this region, well, not here, not where you're at now, but the region in the where the Crow Fort is now, and where you talked to Sobek, was called Kezura then, and it was ruled by Sobek for about 6,600 years, using Corvalane to transplant from one body to the next and so on. Kezura was, of course, a desert then, as you guys figured out. The only sea was far to the west. The Sobekites, his people, the Sobekites, covered from that entire region, from the mountains to the east, which is where Morvok was, where you guys met the Mihotau, and the sea, which is much further to the west, because the sea had not filled in so far. Sobekites also, another thing that could potentially be relevant that you did, Arteme recites to you, is that the Sobekites were the first and the largest group to overthrow their tyrannical leadership, which led to other city-states in the kingdom doing the same, eventually culminated in what historians call the end of the era of Old Vabby. So she goes over all that information from the
songs
book.
About it.
It's
end of the era of Old Vabby.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely an important historical event, but it's old enough now that a lot. Basically, historians care, but a lot of other most people wouldn't necessarily remember that kind of history.
Saying the end of the old era of Old Vabby would make a very good folk song.
Oh, the tonage of the
tonage. End of the era of Old Vabby.
All right.
Well, they're gonna care real soon once they realize what's back out in that ocean.
So
well, if you want to make a song about
what you're talking about, that guy was friendly. He's fine.
Honestly, you guys did a really good job. That was the other thing I was talking about when I was talking about not giving you guys a solution, just letting you figure it out. That you didn't have a way to communicate with him, and I wasn't 100% sure. Like even before we started, I was like 80% sure that comprehend languages would not work, but that you had to kind of come up with a way to still get some information across to him, even though you could understand him, he couldn't understand you. Was a fun kind of challenge that I wasn't sure how you guys were going to tackle. So.
It was kind of like a puzzle.
Yeah.
And you're welcome for me turning into an ape and flexing. I think that basically
so what's funny about that too is that you did that, and my first thought was, well, I mean, it would probably respect power, except that and I had to look at the stats for it, even the giant ape is not anywhere near as big as it. It could just pick up a giant ape and just rip it in half if he wanted to, and a creature of that size, so it wouldn't be impressive enough that he would care.
Maybe he respects the confidence.
Maybe to a certain level, that you were brave enough to try.
Like, I feel like if you saw like a little person like in a bodybuilding competition, you'd be like, okay, like look at him go. Fuck yeah, all right.
He deserves some applause just for that, just for trying. You get a participation award.
That's a Ben question more for anyone.
Have you seen any little people doing competitions, G?
No, I don't think so. But there's been a couple. There's one guy that had I'm not sure if it was MS or something like that, but kind of diseased where he couldn't really gain much muscle, but he still got up there and did it anyway. So there are some, not standard people, I guess you can say, that do it. But I don't think I've ever seen a little person do it before, though.
Biggest compliment I've had in a while. I was out last Sunday doing live band karaoke, and me and a kind of a big burly buddy of mine who's also kind of muscular. We got approached by a guy he runs a athletic bodybuilding team that do competitions. He's like, hey, would you guys be interested in maybe joining our team? And I was like, holy shit. You haven't seen me with a shirt off yet, so no, but I really love that this is not.
There's a huge,
there's a huge disparagement between what I look like with and without a shirt on. Like I've learned to wear clothes that really accentuate the pluses and push the minuses very deep. You'd have no clue.
Gotta be careful, man.
It's too late though. Once the shirt comes off, ladies just like, well, I mean, we're here, I guess.
The implication.
We're back on.
It's just the implication. It's already there.
I guess we're here.
It's the
Shit. I don't know how you. All right, that's impressive. I'm not gonna lie.
Gotta be careful, man. If the guy's name was Mac and he feels with some people named Charlie and D, you might want to reconsider that.
Yeah, gonna go drink some crow milk.
Some fight milk.
It's all about that crow team.
Crow team.
All right. So, Artebe, you finished growing the tree, though. You don't see Nazim anymore. He's clearly gone up over. So it's a step, yes, but it's like all low sloped hills. So they're not very high. They're not difficult to you're not hiking to walk up or down them. But he's already disappeared over at least the first of those kind of low sloped hills. Pogo, I mean, you watched him go up over the top and then crest over the other side. He's not super far away, but you no longer see him at least. But you stand up, the tree is finished. What are you guys doing?
Alright, might as well follow him.
Okay.
Because I would have grown the
buried the scales already?
Yeah, I would have grown like the tree, I would have grown the roots like around it to where like we could dig it out, but the roots are protecting it.
Okay. So you're not putting it underground necessarily, but in the roots above ground?
It is still kind of buried a bit under the roots because it's like the roots aren't above ground themselves, but the roots are like around it.
Yeah, but the spell doesn't dig for you; it just grows the roots under the ground. So to do it as you're describing, it would need to be above the ground a little bit, which isn't necessarily a problem. I mean, it doesn't rain here a ton or anything, anyways. So, I mean, you could give it enough of a canopy.
Could we have dug out some of it first before she started growing, and then
you could. It's just going to add more time. The reason that what I'm getting at here is that how far Nazim is going to be.
Nazim's walking really far away. I don't know what we're doing. I'm like a kid at Disneyland right now. I'm confused.
Parents are fighting. I don't know which one to go with.
This isn't really just fighting. This is just one trying to go to a set direction while the other is trying to finish.
Yeah, I mean, from a kid's perspective, where
I'm going with the Nazim.
One direction, that's the other direction.
As soon as we dropped, I didn't say a word to anybody. I just turned direction and just started floating.
Okay. I'm trying to keep up with Nazim.
All right.
Going with him.
Okay. Well, you crest the top of the hill. You see him kind of getting towards the bottom of the first little slope. You can see him, clearly there, and you're at the last possible position, really, where you can still see both groups. And then, realizing that Nazim is not slowing down, you crest the other side of the hill, so you guys can no longer see Pogo either. Norok, with some help from, the side of Volkenbrecker, you guys dig out a little bit of a gap, enough to kind of give a little bit of a flat space for the frame to sit inside of, while Arteme finishes growing the tree over it. You throw some dirt on as the roots kind of begin to cover over it and kind of grasp it in place where it'll be nice and safe. All of that said, it probably took you about 14-15 minutes total, so not super far, but enough for Nazim and Pogo to be.
We'll try and speed to Nazim now.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, with Yeah, with the broom, you guys can catch up pretty quickly, leaving Norok to just run as fast as he can. Yeah, usually that's very, very commonly the case. Norok has to keep his feet on the ground.
Long legs. He'll
Speed
be
boost.
He's literally, the Yog have 4 lungs, so they're specifically intended for being able to run long distances as a species, especially running down out of the mountains and things like that. So he's particularly suited for it. But by the time you guys do catch up, because he isn't slow either, he's moving. Nazim is moving at his full speed. Pogo doing his best to keep up as well. You do catch Pogo first, breathing heavily, but you see Nazim occasionally flit, kind of coming up over the slopes ahead of you.
Just a gray beard falling off my fucking face.
the spirit gum glue is starting to melt.
It's got to be bad now. It's been like 10 days.
Yeah. It's just covered, soaked in
like
mud and muck.
Yeah, I probably washed a little bit before we left again on this, and it's probably just half of it's gone. The mustache that I kind of made better is pulling away from half of my face. It looks terrible. I'm gonna tell you right now, this is not gonna last much longer. I gotta get rid of this.
We might need a new photoshopped. Yeah, exactly. A new photoshopped portrait for the ill-fated Giuseppe.
Pogo's got some. His thought right now is he's about to take us off here pretty soon. Yeah, it was better in the snow. In the heat, it's less ideal. It's gonna come off pretty soon. Yeah.
Every time you guys, talk about Giuseppe in the disguise, it makes me think of Beavis and Butthead, where they cut their own hair off and glue it to their own face. That's what it makes me think of.
It reminds me of It reminds me of Jackass, where they fucking make the terrorist beard out of pubic hair.
Yeah, that's where they got it from. They got that from Beavis and Butthead when we were kids. Yeah, that's it. That's not going to put the picture in the Embers chat.
That's how I'm picturing it the whole time.
Wasn't he on wasn't he on an airplane or something when they made him shout
No, he was
a taxi.
A terrorist in a taxi. Yeah.
Okay.
He was got his ass fucking beat through. That was dangerous shit.
Yeah. All right. So, with another fun tangent, but you guys, by the time you catch up to him, I'll just go ahead and tell it to you. You guys are far enough away. That looks exactly like our old office, doesn't it, Sako?
It kind of does.
Look at the cubicle in the background. That looks like your guys' cubicles in the main room outside of in the office there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you guys, as you kind of crest the top of this hill, you see Nazim 2 or 3 hills ahead of you as you've caught up to Pogo here. But far in the distance, because it wasn't that far from here, it was only an hour or so from here, when you were going at normal speed, not running, you can see another slope, the spot where the ship had been, at least, and the ship was in the bowl of a little slope. Does that make sense? Am I describing that okay? So basically, you're seeing the kind of the top of the ridge, but you can't see the ship itself, and you wouldn't expect to, because it was kind of in the bottom part. But what you do see is, and this is still probably a quarter mile away or so. At the top of the slope, like the upper part of the ridge part of the bowl, you see a parked Corvette, a sleek, fast airship with coruscating sails that are rippling in the wind. You see, it's kind of hard to make it out from here, but specifically because of the color, you can tell what it is. You see the sigil of House Caius that is emblazoned on the sails there. This kind of white, it's a musical instrument. It's a lyre. You guys know what a lyre is? Ben, I think Norok has a lyre.
Lyre.
Is it pronounced lyre? I was pronounced it lyre. Lyre. It's kind of like a harp.
I
almost.
didn't live in the 1200s, so I'm not sure how.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know what the original
I've just seen it written.
Pronunciation would be. Yeah. Anyways, so that instrument though, it's kind of like a harp, like a mix between a harp and a guitar almost. But anyways, it's that. Yeah, that's a lyre right there. Or a lyre. So anyways, it's these bright purple. It's a bright purple field, like this royal purple field with a white symbol of that on it, which you know to be the symbol of House Caius, which is the emperor. There's a crown above the lyre on the symbol. It's the symbol for the seat of the empire. So anyways, there's clearly an imperial airship, a small, fast airship that is parked on the ridge. You guys know what a Corvette is? The ship. Not a car.
I thought you said Corvette like a car. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Well, I mean, where the car gets the name is from the ship originally. It's a very small, like a frigate, like a small, very fast ship. But anyways, it's an airship that is a smooth airship that is parked on the ridge there. And there are 2 large tents that are also this kind of vibrant purple, this royal purple, that are staked along the ridge as well. And you can see some people surrounding the area where the tents are. Like they're clearly nearby, and they seem to be. You can't really tell, what direction they're looking necessarily, but they're all kind of standing still and intently looking at something. It seems like they're looking down into the bowl, probably at the ship there.
I'm riding in on Norak's shoulders if he'll let me. not like with my legs around his neck, but like standing on his shoulder.
You're gonna fucking fall. We have to take your hands. I'm like a little kid. I'm gonna pull your hands, dude. So
hold on. What is it? A deck save? This is what I am. This is what I'm made for.
Are we approaching from the opposite side of that Corvette? Meaning we're coming on one side of the bowl, Corvette's on the other side of the bowl, the ship is in the middle, and we're both kind of coming together?
No, other way around. So you are the direction you're coming from, Nazim, and obviously you know that your friends are not far behind you, but you're approaching from the southeast, and the Corvette is on the ridge, like a little bit to the left of that. If you were to go straight in, you're going to end up going through the people, and then you would go up over the ridge and down towards the ship. So that the ship is the airship, the Corvette, is off to the left a little bit up on the ridge, but you know where the crashed nautiloid is. You would be essentially moving through the soldiers that are there.
Gotcha. So I wouldn't be going straight through the ship, but I would be passing very close as we both walk towards that bowl.
Yeah. Yep.
Gotcha.
And I'm standing on Norak's one shoulder as I drink a little bit of tea.
Both feet side by side on one shoulder.
Just both feet on one shoulder.
All right. How much shit are you carrying though? Because I mean, you're still 200 pounds
I'm
on
like
one
80
shoulder.
pounds.
Yeah, but all the shit you're carrying though, you're still standing on one shoulder for Norak.
Trying
to make this as uncomfortable as possible for poor Norak.
I'm like it's like 100 pounds on a shoulder. It's not that bad.
You are carrying at least 100 pounds plus
carrying
you.
82 pounds.
Okay. All right.
Plus
well,
me.
All right. So we'll call it 130 maybe. Yeah. You've had a lot of days of extra rations.
You're getting fat off of cheese.
No, I'm kidding. Right.
As soon as we see the people up there, I'm going to use the Rocky-Talkie and just be like, hey, Nazim. Oh, fuck, he doesn't have one, does he?
Nope.
Shit. Never mind. Oh, no, I'll just use message. So you may want to come back and at least join the group. Don't just, run up there and run into the ship. They'll probably try to kill you. You can reply to this message.
I was waiting for that. I was curious if you were going to, or if you just tell them, outside of narrative.
Please hit reply all. What I'll do then is I'll float back down and begin walking at a slower pace. Okay. Still walking towards the bowl. Okay. However, much more cautiously and being more aware of cover.
All right. Then you look behind yourself as you kind of reach the top of the next ridge, and you see them behind you. Lower yourself to the ground and just using your feet to walk. You kind of match your pace where you know that by the pace they're going, they should be able to catch up to you before you arrive at where the crash site is. So as you guys continue then, you do eventually catch back up to Nazim, and you know that you are one hill away. As soon as you go up the next ridge, the odds are good that that you'll certainly be visible at the very least to the soldiers if they are looking in this direction. You guys doing anything else, or just continuing on until they see you?
I mean, guys, what's the plan here? Because I'm pretty sure they're not just going to let us onto the ship.
Does anybody have some form of reconnaissance, like an eye or something that can kind of view it before we go over the ridge?
I missed the first part of that, Sarko.
Oh, does anybody have anything for small reconnaissance? The D&D equivalent of send up a drone to look inside, pretty much.
I can send Psy.
Yeah. That's great, because I left my drone with Abar and my dad.
Yeah, you did.
I recognize what kind of soldiers they are.
They're Imperial. They're from the Empire.
No, we don't give a shit about it. They're fine. They're not Juthrans. We'll be all right.
No. Remember, we have to go to the Empire after this.
Yeah,
so
we're not going to kill them. They're not going to murder us. We're going to go hang out.
I mean, as far as the kind of, I wouldn't say that you guys have chosen a side necessarily, but if you had, it would be with the Empire.
No, we've chosen the Empire. Yeah. I think we've clearly. It would seem like a pretty clear choice to not the.
I'm not saying we didn't choose the Empire. Animals. I'm saying if they don't let us on this ship, Nazim may go nuts and kill them, and that would be bad.
I don't think Nazim's going to kill. There's nothing in my history makes me think Nazim's going to murder these people just to get on the ship.
Oh, well, that's good to know. Maybe we're going to do some history lessons about Nazim's history here.
I mean, I'm saying, if he does, maybe we need to have a talk about Nazim.
Not about the soldiers, but about Nazim.
He tries to skin people for leather, and he seems really fixated with this ship.
doesn't
What part of that
try
makes
to
it seem like a good
He
idea?
doesn't try to skin people. It's just if there's skin, you might as well use it. Like I get that.
That makes it so much better.
I'm just saying that doesn't. It's just he hasn't
Either way,
seen
that doesn't sound too good.
He just doesn't seem that obsessed with. Like I don't think he's gonna murder all these soldiers just to get to the ship.
Based on what you know of Nazim, he's extremely focused, and he really is just focused on what's going on. So
I will
just
remind
take that into
everybody.
consideration.
Yeah, just because it's been a little while, obviously, since you guys were here at the ship, but there were multiple instances when you guys were on the ship there where Nazim, like, kind of blacked out for a second, and it was clear that he wasn't listening to you because he was, something was happening, I guess, is what I'm saying. And Sako knows what those things are, but you guys don't. So there's clearly something going on, some connection between that ship or what's on it and Nazim that you guys are not necessarily privy to. You don't know what that is specifically. What I'll say is that Pogo isn't entirely incorrect necessarily. It's up to Sako what he chooses to do, but Nazim's draw towards the ship does definitely seem uncomfortable to all of you. In a below your passive kind of a sense. But it doesn't necessarily mean he would go on a murder spree to get there either. So anyways.
Okay. Should you be looking like yourself going up to the ship? Because I mean, all of us look like regular people, but you've got the whole like melty face thing going on. I mean, I'm used to it, but they're not going to be.
I mean, my beard's falling off. Is it that much better?
Yeah, I mean, I guess not.
No response, Nazim?
Is he even with us, or is he like way ahead of us still? Like,
No, you caught up to him. Yeah,
you guys are all
just
caught
about
up.
Yeah.
What I'll just do, just to kind of...
Can we pause, Nazim? Can you stop floating at full speed?
Just to almost kind of placate, I would just kind of look back at her and then just change my form into a more appropriate...
your shiny farmer guy?
less melty faced. I'll just be a normal person that may not be as shocking to an Imperial soldier.
I just don't want them to think that this is like your ship.
He is also naturally Vabian, and there is clearly a lot of
His
cautious
features.
sense around a Vabian. Yeah. The rest of you don't look Vabian at all, so him, Nazim translating his features to look more Caucasian, let's say, will be less of a fright to them.
And maybe if you're wearing Vabian clothes, maybe you change your clothes a little bit with that nifty little thing you can do.
I'm not giving up my fashion
I'm
sense.
thinking tank top and like some short shorts. Match the climate.
No.
The midriff, what's the belly shirt type of thing?
Do one of those tank tops that's mesh.
Get the Joe Dirt.
A mesh
The
tank top
right
with
said
the
Fred.
belly hanging out.
The right said Fred shirt, right?
I'm not gonna lie. They're gonna be uncomfortable, but like in not the aggressive way. They're just gonna be like, I don't know what to do.
All right, well,
It's a good distraction.
Yeah.
after Nazim has changed his appearance enough to blend in a little easier, then it's good that you pointed that out actually, because that could have potentially been an issue. But as you there you go, I forgot Macmore one too. As you crest the last of the ridge, you can see just from this vantage point where you're going to be going down the slope that leads up to the other side. Basically, you're going to be looking up at them here in less than a minute, and they're almost certainly going to see you. But as soon as you've crested this kind of last hill to see them, you see half a dozen Imperial soldiers that are visible on the ridge there, and there's a seemingly civilian woman in a white tunic that's beside them, and she's looking down at like a board, like a clipboard, and it looks like she's drawing on it. All of them, though, including this woman, are looking down over the other side of the slope, presumably towards where the crash site is there. Many of the soldiers, really all of them except for one, have their these really heavy, vibrant purple cloaks, and they've pulled them up over their shoulder and around their front, and then lifted it and kind of thrown it over the other shoulder to create this kind of mass covering. Am I describing that okay? Everybody get that?
Mm-hmm.
So they've kind of pulled the cloak around to cover their mouth and their noses. As you guys, of course, remember the choking smoke from the ship there. But as you guys are approaching, kind of trudging up the slope toward them, one of the soldiers seems to have caught notice of you, and he barks a surprised grunt. And in unison, the squad all spin on their heels to face you, raising crossbows out at the row of you. One of the soldiers, a woman that's wearing this helmet with a tall kind of horsehair crest over the top, presumably the commander, she shouts out, "You there! Stop where you are. There's danger here, and this is Imperial business besides. Go around west or north, but trek no further in this direction."
Whoa. And Pogo's gonna lift his hands up while he's standing on Norak's shoulders. We don't mean any harm here. We came here. We were actually sent on a convoy to discuss what's going on in this situation from the south, and we were just sent to figure out what's going on, why you are here, and if there's any help we could deliver to you.
What would a traveling circus folk care with events here?
What circus folk? We're just trying to find out if you need any assistance.
You're a yogg and a halfling with a lute and a girl floating on a broom. What do you look like circus folk?
Sarah is slightly offended by this. She's just kind of like death glare.
You're still far enough away. She
saying
thinks you're a girl, like young because you're small because you're a halfling. And she didn't mention Artemis, but
no, not the girl thing, the circus thing.
Oh. Well, I mean, you guys, especially with Pogo standing on Norak's shoulders, it looks like a circus act.
She still finds it impressive.
Fox, are you back? Fox? Here, I'll just put it in chat.
Well, I'm just going to say, so we may be a bit of a sorted bunch, but we all have our own specifics and abilities, and we're kind of think of us as a diplomatic grouping here to just try to, figure out what you might need, or any help in this situation with this ship. We saw it, we got word of it about a week and a half ago, or a week or so ago, that it was creating this black smoke. We sent a small team to go investigate, and we felt, or apparently our leaders felt, they should send us out to do some more reconnaissance, and we learned about you, and we decided to see if there was anything we could do to help you, or find out if you had any questions or concerns, or perhaps we could take a look as well and help you with your investigation of this thing.
During that response there, when you said the word ship, she kind of stops for a moment and kind of tilts her head and looks in the ship and then back in your direction, or looks over the slope to the other side at least. The soldiers, by the way, the rest of the Imperial soldiers have not lowered their crossbows. They all have crossbows aimed at you. She does not. She's kind of lowered hers, but she has not ordered them to do so. But she kind of looks back in your direction. All right. You all see Nazim is still floating towards the hill. He's moved off to their side a little bit, kind of away from them and away from the Corvette, but up the slope towards the other side.
I'm still walking.
This is actually
walking.
He's our scientist immediately who's in charge of these types of... I'm sorry that he's a bit presumptuous in his floating to see about it, but he's a bit autistic, and he's kind of single-minded, and he just wants to study this ship more. Apparently, he was actually one of the first to discover this about 10 days ago. So he's very curious to get back to some of the initial discoveries that he made. And so I apologize for my colleague. He's not of any harm. If you look at him, he doesn't have any weapons. His mesh tank top is very clearly just a sign of his anti-aggression stats. You don't have to worry about him. Don't stress over him, I promise. We'll stay here. He might go want to take a quick look, but nothing dangerous, I promise.
I'm just picturing a mesh shirt, and because he said it's a farmer, with one of those huge, farmer straw hats on.
I'm wearing a mesh shirt. It's totally sweet.
Overalls that are just not buttoned at the top, like just one buckle.
He chose this outfit because it's very good for the steppe climate. This biome that we all know so well.
She shouts
totally
back,
sweet.
You mean desert? You mean desert? This is desert, isn't it?
Yes, this climate.
She seems clearly intrigued by you mentioning finding this ship here, because as far as she knows, you haven't been over the other side, and therefore shouldn't know that it's a ship. But her response is still negative, I guess, at the very least. You said someone sent you. We were not sent by the Empire, so who is it that sent you?
Would Pogo know any other things? Because the Empire, if I remember the way this is to the north, right?
Yeah.
And what would be to the south? Besides
Vati.
The water. Is it Vati?
Yeah.
On
the other side of the ocean.
That's the only thing to the south?
Well, yes, basically. The other side of the ocean here is a massive kingdom and desert.
On the ocean? Damn it. I forgot the fucking map.
Here, I'll bring up the map and show you.
Yeah, let me take a quick look so I have some time to figure out what bullshit.
Try to BS your way through. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be 100% BS, but I want to at least make it, let's see, realistic to the map that we're using for this.
Yeah. There you go. So this is the world map area. If you guys see the black area on the right side of the map, that whole kind of black line on the right side of the map, and that itty bitty little square, that itty bitty little square up there is where the Crow Fort is.
Yeah.
And Cadogan is to the west of that. That's the map that you guys see in the login screen. So the far, top right corner of the ocean there, that's where Cadogan is, and that's where you guys teleport. Well, you guys, were just where you found the scales. Where you teleported to is where it says the Wuod Plains on the west side. So imagine that center area is the Mediterranean, and the Rock of Gibraltar is in the middle there. You guys are in the Wuod Plains area, basically where the S is in Plains. You're just south of that.
All right, and Vabi is on the opposite side of the
other
water.
side of the other side of the water is all Vabi. Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. No, we're not from. We're from a decent sized city down towards the south of the Wood Plains. You may have heard it. It's called Cincinnati, and we discovered this on. We were here. We were actually working with. We're interested in doing a anthropological study on some of the tribe infighting when they fight. They come here every once in a while to apparently this isn't my field, you understand, but they come here and they do some battling and decide who is strongest, and we were interested in that, and apparently the people there doing that saw some smoke in the distance on something, and they went to investigate, and then when they reported back, the king and queen of Cincinnati, they sent us back here to do some further investigations, and then we found you. So I mean, it's a pleasure seeing you. We don't mean you no harm. Don't worry, we're not from Vabi or anything like that. I just came here to see.
That's convincing.
What would happen?
Exactly.
Show them that we got our fingers on the pulse of the political situations in the world, and we know they don't like Vabi, so we're clearly not from there.
Okay.
None of us look like we are, so when we
exactly.
And he doesn't right now, so
make a deception check, Pogo. And Nazim, you're basically nearing the top of the ridge there, and one of the soldiers that was behind this woman, clearly the commander of the group there. Well, I don't think she's going to beat that. She got a -2. She got a natural 20. Oh shit! She got a natural 20, but it's still an 18.
Yeah.
So
DM rules. I don't know.
she looks nonplussed. You're not sure if she convinced her or not. But one of the soldiers behind her, though, as Nazim is approaching the top of the ridge, they haven't loosed bolts or anything. You can tell, like their fingers aren't even on triggers. Like they're clearly just following orders. They don't really have any intent to shoot you. It seems.
We're currently at a traffic stop, guys. Let's not push this.
Make sure that this is a drunk. What's the word for that? When they
drunk in public?
No, when they do stops for looking for drunk people in the whole line of cars. Anyways, just making sure that you're not belligerent or blow the ship up or something like that. But one of the soldiers is behind. Yeah, checkpoint. There you go. Kind of walks behind her over towards Nazim and lowers the crossbow, but holds a hand out like where your chest will be. If you continue walking, he's gonna be stopping you. But he just says, just hold on, see what the commander says. Can you just behave for a minute?
I will slow my walk.
Yeah, doctor.
Instead of putting my left hand out with palm up, I'm just going to point my finger up and just slowly walk, just to look over the ridge. But I'm going to make it very clear that I'm not going to.
You're close enough that you can see down into the valley from there, even before he stops you.
Okay. If I can look down into it, as long as I can see it, I'll stop where I'm at, and I'll just keep my finger pointed in the air, next to just in his direction while looking down into the ship.
Okay. I'll tell you that from this distance... give me an Arcana check. Just for Nazim. Oh, never mind. Not with that. Well, shit, I mean, at +7, that's almost. It was a low DC, but you just barely missed it by 1. Although you couldn't really have rolled any less than that, so... you don't notice anything. But you are able to look down towards the ship. But standing there, though, you guys see Nazim kind of stop and seems transfixed, looking over the edge, down towards where the ship was, at least as you had last seen. She says, I've never heard of Cincinnati down here. This story doesn't quite add up. You sure you don't have a better story than that, Gleeman?
Never heard of Cincinnati. We have hundreds of Bengal tigers. Have you heard of them? We have an army of Bengals. You never heard of the Cincinnati Bengal Army? That's preposterous.
I've heard that Bengal army does nothing but lose. Until recently, anyway.
I was going to say.
Anyways.
We've gotten very, very strong recently.
Just this last year, all of a sudden, somehow.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry that you haven't heard of us. I don't know what to say to that, but perhaps the Empire needs to get better public schools, I suppose. I'm sorry. I mean, we don't mean you no harm. Look, we have this man here, and I'm patting Norak kind of on the shoulder beneath me.
You're gonna have to sit down to do so.
Yeah, a little bit. Like I kind of squat down, I just pat him on the shoulders. I'm standing. He obviously from my stature, my colleague here, Norak, he helps us get around. He provides protection, and we have Dr. Arteme and Professor Sarah, and of course over here, Professor Nazim. We're just trying to figure out what's going on. We actually didn't even know you'd be here until we came running over the hill in anticipation, and it's just interesting. We're perfectly fine working together with you and your associates to figure out what's going on. Do you have any idea of what this thing, why it's here or what it's doing? It prompted our original. The people who came to us said it was very strange when they found it spewing the smoke and making people cough. They even said they saw, and I'm gonna kind of like jump down like off of Norak, and I'm gonna kind of walk up like. And get close enough, she's kind of like quietly say, they even saw something invisible, like almost like invisible beings or something floating around this ship, and that's what really caught our attention. We weren't sure what to think of it being a possible ship from the air or something of that nature, and we just wanted to come by and make sure it was not going to do damage to any of the area around us or something of that.
She still kind of, looking in your direction. She doesn't seem to be convinced necessarily, but she does kind of turn and then gesture, kind of a downward gesture, and the soldiers behind her kind of lower the crossbows. Looking back down at the group, I need more specifics on that. Give me more specifics there. But anyway, she kind of looking, back in your direction after giving them the gesture. We've seen strange things, to be certain, if anything, that barely begins to describe it. I don't know how you managed to find this already, but we may as well put our minds together, I guess. You can tell us what you've seen, and we can share what we've seen, and maybe we can figure it out. Go ahead and come on up.
All right.
She kind of waves you guys up to the hill.
Fantastic.
Go no further, just here. It's not safe any further than this. She kind of gestures you up to the top of the ridge.
Looking around now that we're a little closer and things have calmed down a little bit, does she look like she's in charge of everyone here?
Yes.
Or is there like multiple groups?
No, there's so now that you've reached the top of the ridge, you can see that there's at least another dozen or so soldiers that are down like inside the kind of lower slope of the hill, but not on the ship. And there's a couple things that I'm going to point out to everybody. And Nazim, you would have already seen this part. Okay. Nothing happens. It works exactly as you would expect it to in response to that. So just to keep you... So part of the reason that I asked you guys about that got it thing is there will be potentially points in here where you guys may need to respond to me or me to you guys. And so you may hear me, responding to somebody. I'm not going to spoil things there. You guys could probably guess anyways. From that point, that won't necessarily be the only point, but I was just responding to that as all. So it may not make sense to the rest of you, but those that do need that information already know who we're talking to. But as you guys approach the top of the hill here, you look down and see that the nautiloid itself is in far better shape than when you left it. Tentacles that were hewn clean before, that were just hewn clean off, like where it had hit and just ripped the tentacles off, have like regrown, and there's still the like dead half of the tentacle that was hewn off is still laying in the dirt. So like a lizard will regrow its tail like that, only this has done, a large amount of flesh regrown in a very short period of time. Places where you'd seen massive chunks of the kind of armored skin of it that had been torn out by the impact are now whole again, and you can see this kind of cleanly visible, newly regrown skin that isn't covered in the layers of dust that was kicked up from the crash like the rest of the surrounding limbs are. So it's really easy to spot where it had healed itself. The flesh itself had been this kind of sickly purple before, and the bits that are still left over are still this sickly purple. But now the tendrils that are sticking out from it are this vibrant green, and they're clearly pulsing the way that a heartbeat will pulse a vein. Does that make sense? So I mean, it's clearly alive. Arteme could tell that it was alive, but in bad shape before, and it seems to be healing. Even the shell, it seems to have shifted color slightly. It's not the exact same color as it was before. It's a little bit darker now. And the deck, which is a little odd here too, is the deck was made of this kind of chitinous material, almost wood-like, but it had been cracked in a place and had been smashed in. That's where you guys found a key on one of the illithid corpses. But it's now solid again, like somebody just rebuilt a deck. So imagine a deck that has been destroyed in an earthquake or something, just been rebuilt since then. And also, you don't see any sign of the illithid corpses. There's no blood. There's no corpses. You do still see Nazim specifically, but the rest of you can see these as well. The kind of 3 floating orbs that were floating in space that were the text, remember? That if you walked near them, they gave you headaches and you would kind of hear their conversation. I'll go ahead and move us to this one, I think it is. Let me make sure. This might take a second to load, so let me preload it first just in case so it doesn't take you guys too long to get over there. So looking down, though, you see this, essentially. And as you're all kind of standing near enough to the commander for her to talk to you, she says, we came, as quick as we could, ordered by the Emperor himself, and it's been trouble ever since we arrived. So what did you know of this? What did you find when you came here?
Well, it certainly didn't look like this.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't here. We just got reports from another team that had been in the area for something else. So, it's hard to understand exactly.
Were they attacked, the other team?
I don't think so. We didn't hear any, or at least the whoever reported to us didn't say that they were attacked. They just said they saw something strange. They had some weird feelings in their mind when they touched some things or tried to comprehend what was happening. They felt almost faint or sickly when they were inhaling the smoke. So they didn't have a lot of time to, make more discoveries. But they definitely said it was a destroyed ship, and this doesn't look that destroyed. Did you fix it before we got here?
We didn't fix anything, no. We got close enough for a very short period of time, and then something attacked us. We lost 2 men, and we haven't been able to get back near it since. We camped out last night. She kind of gestures over towards the tent, but until we get reinforcements, I'm not sure that we can really go in any closer here. There's still some toxic fog or something around it that is hard enough to breathe, but we were close enough trying to breathe through our cloaks, as you see most of them doing here, but we were down near the shell part of it down there, and she kind of gestures towards the spirally shell. And we heard a scream, and it was already too late. I turned, and all of us had seen, bits and pieces of this, but we caught barely a glimpse of some barbed bladed apparatus that had shot out from the shell and speared each of my men through their torso, straight through, and kind of opened up on the other side, and then yanked them back through. And we heard the bodies crunching as they were kind of bursted in through these holes that were too small for a body to fit through, and then the holes closed again.
I'm just gonna look at fucking Nazim wide-eyed, with a visual look that kind of screams, "What the fuck, bro?"
She kind of sees that,
standing there smiling at this point.
She sees that, and she kind of gives kind of an understanding nod. She says, "I've ordered the remainder of my squad to remain up here until we can get reinforcements."
Yeah,
the Imperial Marines are. Good idea. Yeah, we're known for never being fearful, but we don't know what we're dealing with here, and I have too few soldiers left for a head-on assault, especially with how fast whatever it is in there can move. I don't know that we have any choice until we have more people to keep a proper watch. Another oddity did. Go ahead.
Would you be willing to let us get closer? I mean, we're not your soldiers, so I mean, you wouldn't be risking our lives. Like, we'd take it in our own hands.
You're still citizens of the Empire. It is our duty to protect your lives as well, even if you'd be stupid enough to risk them.
Yeah, but we're also citizens of Cincinnati, and you know, we were sent here on our own. You know, we are under orders from our own, small as it be, system of government that wants at least some answers. I'm going to be honest. If we go back right now, we're going to end up in a lot of trouble. I know. I understand that you know you don't want people dying under your watch or being hurt by this thing, but would it be at least okay if we just got closer and tried just to find something about this artifact, this item? Or it sounds like I don't want to be offending, but you don't exactly look like scientists, or you don't look like you're here to study it. Are you here to just guard it or fight it?
She gestures over. She gestures over to the woman in the white tunic that is standing there, kind of ignoring you. She basically hasn't looked up at anybody, but she is looking down at the ship and then kind of rapidly drawing in this sketch pad, like a clipboard. She looks like a scientist, like a doctor. And she gestures to her. She says, "That's Karina's job. That's really not our concern."
Just her. Just one. Is she an artist? Or is she a scientist? That's it. They just sent one person along to document this thing.
She's a xenobiologist, but that's really, again, not of my concern. And we, like I said, waiting for reinforcements, hoping others will arrive to do their best. But even as it is here, we're nervous just standing on this ridge, even far enough away from whatever's in there can't attack us, because this little thing keeps flying around watching us, and we don't know what to do with it. It seems harmless, kind of curious maybe, but it keeps watching and staring.
Where's she in relation to me right now? The little sketch artist thing with the little tablet?
15 feet to the left on the ridge, like around the outside of a circle.
I'm just going to walk straight to her and look at the sketch, or look at the little pad, see what she's writing.
She's drawing. It looks like
myself.
Yeah, she still just flat out ignores you. Like she kind of looks up to see that you're approaching, but beyond that, just looks right back down and continues sketching. And it is a sketch of the nautiloid.
I'm gonna walk up to Sarah and be like, "Oh, all right," and then I'm gonna walk up to Sarah and be like, "I'm not smart enough to continue talking to any of these people. I think you need to go talk to that girl over there and see what's happening. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get very far with that." And I'm gonna point to the scientist person.
Read books. That doesn't make me a fucking scientist. Dear God, okay.
Well, I'm a scientist. That doesn't make me reading a book.
At least you dug up shit. You're coming with me. I'll take Arteme with me.
I could also put protect from poison on people too if we needed, because I'm already I can't get poisoned, but you guys can. So
yeah.
I feel like we're far enough away right now, but yeah.
I mean, like when we go closer.
Pogo's gonna go just basically see if Sarah and Arteme can go talk to the scientist girl, because I don't think he's gonna be able to convince her of shit.
Sure. Okay.
Also, Justin's gonna be right back because he has to pee.
In that sketch, was there anything notable in the sketch, or is it just an outline of the ship? Like, she's not highlighting any specific parts, she's not taking notice of anything specifically?
It looks like a pretty accurate representation of exactly what you see, specifically from the angle that you're standing at. It seems like she hasn't moved since she started the sketch, because it is precisely the angle that she's standing at. You do see a tiny little image drawn in one corner that is not accurate representation, meaning that you're looking at the ship there, and this little thing that she draws in the corner is not in reality there, and it looks like a tiny little winged shape that is kind of blacked out, and she's used this little crosshatch to black out the space behind it. And as Sarah and Arteme approach, and she's kind of sees Nazim as you're staring at this thing on the thing there, she says, "I heard you mentioning that some team had come forward. Did they see this thing?" And she kind of taps it with her pencil.
Yeah. Apparently, it was flying around the ship. It didn't harm them. It just kind of kept an eye on them.
Yeah, that's what we've seen as well. It looks like a hole poked in reality, like a shape of an imp or a gargoyle.
Yeah, they tried to coax it away from the ship, but it wouldn't go very far.
You see her mouth kind of tighten. That's what we've seen so far as well. The jarheads have taken to calling it stargoyle. but it doesn't seem harmful. We just don't know how to communicate with it, or if it has any connection to this place or just coincidence.
Have you been able to get close? I mean, aside from the noxious gas.
She shakes her head.
Apparently something's sticking out.
She shakes her head. I won't go any closer than this until it's safe to do so. There's nothing sticking out. What she had drawn.
The thing that comes out of the ship and kill people.
Oh, yes, yeah. She doesn't draw that. That's not drawn anywhere. In fact, you can tell, Nazim, since you're looking, we're looking intently at it, you can see the shell, the looking kind of down at the shell now and then back at the drawing there, you can see a spot where she made these kind of very subtle lines in the side that are kind of vaguely egg-shaped. And they kind of match the kind of spiral shape of the shell there, but you gather that must be where the holes came out from. They're not there, like they're solid. You look down at the shell and they look solid. They look completely smooth, like there's nothing there. Do you guys know what bakelite is? Not bakelite. Betaclite? What was that called? Let me find it again. Yeah, bakelite. Yeah. So do you guys remember old phones, like old rotary phones? Mm-hmm. So So the plastic that those were made of, and also like old backgammon sets or checker sets, that like really super smooth plastic, that is called bakelite. That was the very first plastic that was ever invented, and that's what the shell looks like now. Before it was divoted. Maybe those don't look like it to me, but they very well could be. Actually, the purple one kind of does. Like these ultra smooth, very like hard, heavy plastic. But it was literally the first plastic that was ever invented. That's what those old phones and everything used to be made of. But anyway, when you were here before, the shell was like badly damaged and like pockmarked and everything, and now it's like super smooth, like that. So you don't even see, although she's kind of drawn in the design of this thing, she's drawn this kind of vaguely oval-shaped, spot where the holes probably must have been that something had come out. That there's nothing there on the ship itself, as far as you can tell, other than the pattern on the ship.
I'll ask them, when they got attacked, was there any warning, or did it just open up and attack them? No, and about how far out were they when the openings came out?
15 feet, 20 feet maybe.
Did they approach from the shell side or from the front?
They were on the side of the ship, down in the ground.
Have you tried approaching? Oh wait, am I here? Or no?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Did you guys try getting there from the top? That's why we carry one of our very scientific apparatuses here, and I point to the broom.
There. Our duty is still to protect citizens of the Empire, regardless of this Cincinnati you speak of. What is your intent? How do you intend to protect yourselves from these things without getting my men killed?
Well, your men don't have to have anything to do with it.
If you go down there and get attacked,
we've been in fights. We've fought in skirmishes with the Vabian Empire. We're frontline scientists. We're think of us as I'm really mad that I'm forgetting the actual word for it. What is it when they drop a journalist into warfare? It's not indebted. God damn it. Yeah. Fuck. Well, we're all forgetting. I'm one of those. I'm one of these. We're scientists that we also
embedded.
Can fight embedded. Yeah, we're embedded scientists. We're used to being in strange situations. That's why they sent us. We're used to having to go and study things like the way the Vabians use undead creatures to continue with their armed forces, and we're used to studying things that other people aren't ready or willing to study. And you don't have to put any of your own men at risk. We can do this on our own. Like, it's not a problem for you, and I understand and appreciate your concern for our safety. But to be honest, it's unwarranted for now. If we get hurt, which is unlikely, we'll still let you know. But what are you to this sort of thing?
Just real quick, does Arteme have the bag with the keys in it?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna make a move towards Arteme.
She's right next to you. She and Sarah are basically, the three of you are surrounding the scientist lady.
Gotcha.
I like this.
I'm gonna kind of twist around to Arteme quietly. I'm not gonna make a very public scene about this, but I'm gonna gesture for the keys and ask for the keys out of the bag, and I will slip them in my garments.
They're that wouldn't really be possible. They're about a foot long and very heavy. So even just to carry 3 of them is going to be very awkward. It's not that they're too heavy, but they're big and heavy. Yeah, so it wouldn't be something you can quite do that subtly. But I mean, there's nothing stopping you from doing it. You just wouldn't be able to really hide it, is what I'm saying.
Well,
Okay.
if the scientist wants to come in, as long as she could protect herself, I'm fine with it. But like, I would use protect from poison for our group at the very least, because I'm already protected from poison.
She says, I will not be going anywhere near that thing. I saw what they did.
Okay, so do you have a problem if we go in?
It's not up to me. You're welcome to go in and kill yourselves. It's up to
Okay.
Neuralia.
Is there anything specific you're looking for inside this ship when you're ready to get in? I mean, if we get to go down there and go in, maybe we can find it for you.
I'm not at liberty. So this is the commander, not the scientist. The scientist is the one who said she doesn't care, by the way. The commander
Oh,
is the
and
one
I
who
was
said-
asking the scientist.
Asking the scientist.
If she was looking for anything specific, if we get to go down in.
I've never seen anything of this sort before. I really don't know what to look for. I've just been asked to document everything I possibly can and return it to my superiors. But this thing is clearly alive and not of this world at the very least.
I'll interrupt her and just say, you should probably just stay safe. Let us take care of this. I'm going to gesture towards Arteme and say, could I please have the scientific tools so we can do some research? And I'll gesture towards the keys.
Probes.
And let me just go ahead and take that real quick. And I'm going to start walking down towards the ship, coming from the front of the ship, kind of angling myself like I'm walking up the front of the ship.
Arteme,
I believe you do have protection from poison, right? So you don't need the spell.
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm
don't
gonna
think
use
Nazim-
the.
Yeah, I don't think Nazim has any
is
natural.
going, I'm gonna start following him because I'm not gonna let him go alone.
Yeah, I'm gonna use protect from poison on Sarah, Nazim, Kogo, and Norak.
Okay.
You guys aren't even getting like a go-ahead yet. Can't wait fucking 1 minute. We're so close. I feel like we're so close.
Well, I'm not just gonna let him wander off by himself. He is bound and determined to go research this shit. So.
Well, then I'm just apologizing for my. I'm sorry. I apparently they were unaware that we're still talking about that. I mean, it's. I'm just. It's. He's so gung ho. He always has been since he was a wee child, but. He gets once he gets this idea in his head of something to study and something interesting and the possibility of new technology that might be just he's just such a we have no control of him at the office. He's such a pain in the ass sometimes, but he is what he is. And
I'll just wave back at him and say, "This is for your safety. Thank you for your service." And I'll just start my walk down the bowl.
And then I'm immediately going to and I'm sorry, I missed your name. What was your name, and what does she look like?
Who are you talking to, the scientist or?
No, I'm talking still to the. I'm still talking to the commander.
To the commander. Commander's name is Neuralia.
Neuralia?
And she's wearing a big helmet with a big kind of horsehair. Like kind of imagine what you picture a Roman
Troy?
commander wearing. Yeah, so like that. Yes, like a Greek or a Roman soldier.
Neuralia, that is a beautiful name. There's actually a gemstone named after, similar to Neuralia. Have you ever heard of it? It's Neuralium, and it's a small, bluish, almost turquoise gemstone. They make a lot of jewelry out of it. If you go a little bit further to the west, on the bankment of the Empire.
Well, real quick, hang on. Do you?
And I'm just gonna start.
Okay, are you trying to bullshit her?
Yeah, I'm trying to just
Okay.
make sure we bide enough time so that they can
Okay.
get down to the ship and she's not like trying to. Like, I'm just trying to make her comfortable.
Because Neuralium is a
No.
thing that you guys have dealt with, a
Oh,
little
that's
while
right,
ago.
the
Okay,
dust.
so when you said that, I'm like, wait, are you trying to?
It's in. You know what?
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna bullshit and pretend Neuralium is
That's
like
fine.
a
That's totally
beautiful
fine, yeah.
piece of jewelry.
I mean, if anything, using a word that
Yeah.
would be, in the real world for them would give it a little more credence, maybe. So
in fact, I think I have some dust of it. Yeah, I have some Neuralium dust. See, this is actually. Did you know you were? I don't know if you're named after this, but I'm just gonna keep talking. And basically, I'm just gonna hang out, make sure everyone up here is comfortable. Everyone's fingers are not itchy. And I'm just gonna
the soldiers have
walk
not
everyone.
been they've not been ordered to do anything. They're just kind of standing there watching in kind of confusion as Nazim and Sarah start walking down the slope. I'll go ahead and tell you guys too that this smoke doesn't fill the sky anymore. Like this little valley bowl, remember, was just filled with smoke before, and then there was the kind of column of it to head up.
Weren't Sarah and I on the broom, so I'd be going with her.
Yeah, if you are, yeah. So if you're both on the broom, then the three of you then heading down that way. So just Norok and Pogo still standing up there? G?
Yeah.
Okay. So...
Remember, I'm not on your shoulders anymore, so if you want to do anything else, you can.
We're gonna leave the guy that can kill everything up.
So the smoke doesn't fill the sky anymore. There's been enough time that it seems like it's dissipated out of the little valley here created by these hills, but there's still a noxious density to the air, almost like like a caustic fog. Like you feel like if you were to leave iron out for like 3 or 4 days, it'll start to show rust. Like that's how bad the air is. But there's these small orbs of exploding light that appear and disappear randomly, like tiny little stars that just kind of flicker into existence long enough to do this kind of supernova of an explosion of light, and then they fade away just as quickly. So that those are all over the place, basically, just these little kind of blinding spots that just appear and then disappear just as rapidly. But apart from that, especially with the protection from poison, it's still difficult to breathe, but you won't be needing to make con saves like you were last time. There's been enough dissipation and the protection from poison to keep you from choking, you feel like. I'll tell you that if you were to be in a complex situation like a fight or having to run for any extended period of time, anything like that, you may start to have a risk there just because it is harder to breathe. So it wouldn't be poison so much as asphyxiation if that were to be an issue. But at least careful walk and everything with the protection from poison on. You guys won't have to make any con saves. All right, so you guys make your way down towards the deck then, is what you're doing?
I'm just following Nazim.
All right.
I'm going to get about 16 feet away from it.
Okay.
Walk about 16 feet away from the front of that ship.
All right.
And stop.
Pogo, you do see that Sarah, Arteme on the broom, and Nazim floating, along beside them, or walking, I guess, down towards the ship. The commander's still kind of eyeing them intently and looking at them, but she seems to be listening to you and she's not stopping them.
Yeah. I'm just chit-chatting, a little bit of flirting. I'm not like flirting to try to get in her pants. I'm just flirting to try to be a nice,
just cordial,
interesting, just random, just being friendly.
Okay. All right. Then Nazim, you make it towards the edge of the ship there. Norok, are you just staying there with Pogo on the top of the ridge?
Yeah, for now I'm just gonna wait.
Okay. I'll tell you that because of the situation, you're probably very closely eyeing where the spot where the holes were opened in the drawing, in case they were to open and a spear shoot out and kill your friends. Just for Norok's kind of natural, what is it called? Your ability, the
danger sense.
There you go, danger sense. Yeah. So just watching for anything like that. But you don't see anything change in the shell, at least as Nazim and Sarah and Arteme approach. I'll go ahead and move us over to that map here real quick. Pogo and Norok, you guys will be up on the hill still, so you won't actually be... There might be room. Yeah, I'll just put you... Oh, yeah, that'll work. There's enough room. I was thinking that would be too far away. And PD Pablo is not here at the moment. And that is not there either. I copied the original map and just changed the art on there, so that. There you go. All right, so move you guys down. Nearing the edge of the creature, though, the tendrils aren't. They're not moving in the sense that they're not ambulatory or anything of that sort, but they are like pulsing. It's clear that they're alive. There's clearly, blood pumping through them or anything of that sort. So, I mean, other than that, it doesn't seem animate, and you don't see anything else moving. What are you guys doing?
Do I see that little thing? Is it close by us?
You don't.
A little invisible thing.
Yeah. What she says the jarheads are calling it Stargoyle, the little invisible, void thing. You don't see it at the moment.
Just from where I'm standing, any openings to get into the ship easily?
Not except you do see the edge of the shell where the keyhole. You can't see them from here, but where the keyholes are, the shell is closed down. Like, in fact, actually, this map doesn't depict it as well as the other one.
The other one kind of had a little notch or something.
Yeah, so this one here, I'd actually edited the map a little bit. So let me go ahead and I'll just draw a line on here. I think will probably be sufficient. So this top part here, this kind of reddish line that I'm drawing. Actually, you guys won't see it until I let go. So that right there, you see that red line that I just drew?
Mm-hmm.
So that is actually solid. You can see a balcony and a ledge there. That's not there. That's the shell is pulled down all the way. But you do know, based on the design of this thing already, where it had been broken before, that can open up. It's just not open now. So right now, the middle part, I'll draw another spot right here, that little kind of squiggle that I put, that's where the door area is, where the keys need to go.
Gotcha.
But you do know that there is some way for that to open up and those balconies to be visible. You just know that they're not visible right now, that the shell, as it was healing, has closed itself back up again.
I mean, should we really just, like, walk up, pop in the keys, and just walk in? Maybe we should, like, pretend that we're messing around with some shit for at least a few minutes and then be like, oh my god, it opened.
How far away are they from Pogo and the commander?
They're down 30 feet, maybe, down the slope.
Yeah, I think I agree with Sarah, though. We can't just open it.
Yeah, because then they're going to be like, where the fuck did you get those keys? How did you know they were going to work? I mean, it's a lot less questions if it just looks like we were messing with shit and we got it open. Because it didn't seem like they messed with stuff, because they didn't want to deal with the gas or the little fucking things coming out to eat people.
Norok and Pogo, as you guys are standing up there, you do see all the soldiers kind of have their crossbows all cocked, and they've lifted them up to where they're, like, I mean, if 90 degrees is pointing straight at the shell, it's not, because it's down, down a slope. But if, let's say, that 90 was it, they're probably 75 degrees up, so they're like really close to ready to lift and fire if something moves. They're the kind of watching.
They're now focused. They're not focused on us. They're focused on the shell itself.
Correct. Yeah.
That's good.
Okay, so they're more of a protective role at this point. They're just keeping an eye on us.
Seems like they're trying to do their best. They don't, like, the commander told you guys that you shouldn't go down here. She didn't forbid you from it.
Yeah, they're just like, they have no idea what to really expect here.
Gotcha. Could I grab the keys from the bag?
Yeah.
Are you just going to go open the door? Don't just go open the door.
I'm taking these 3 scientific rods to science.
I mean, give it like 5 or 10 minutes, like fucking around with shit first. Don't just be like, here's a rod, pop it in.
All right, I'm gonna, if possible, take the keys. And I know they're kind of cumbersome, and I kind of, I guess, hug them. I guess they're kind of tall, right? Big, heavy.
They're
tall.
about a foot long. Yeah. I mean, basically, imagine just trying to carry a bunch of like really heavy, very large tools. Like a bunch of big monkey wrenches or something like that.
Gotcha. Not like unwieldy, but just uncomfortable.
Just awkward, yeah. Like you don't have 3 hands, so you can't really just carry, or just hold all 3.
All right, so I'll grab
hold
them
like firewood, kind of.
and I will look for a way in, or the easiest way in, based on what I can see. I'll just start walking around the ship.
Then you approach. I'll go ahead and move you over there. I didn't put walls on this so that you guys would be able to move yourselves, but I'll go ahead and put you in the right spot. Guys, you see Nazim lifting himself up and kind of pretending not to float his way up the shell, but it's clear to you guys that that's what he's doing, to lift himself up over the edge.
Are you like grabbing onto shit and pretending like to pull up?
Yeah, like pretending to lift himself up, but it's really just he's levitating
strong.
himself. Especially carrying these things, because he doesn't have 2 hands to do it. He's got 3 of them on one arm and then 1 hand to try to lift himself up. So it's pretty clear that he's artificially doing so. Arteme and Sarah, you guys are going up with him.
Yeah, not leaving him up there, but I'm sticking with Nazim.
Okay. Pogo and Norok, you guys staying there?
Norok, do you want to go down there and make sure if they need any help, you can provide a little bit of muscle? I'd like to speak to this commander about a few more things.
Yeah, I'll go down there with him. Start climbing.
Okay.
I would like to ask the commander while Norok's going down there. So, just to change the subject a little bit, we've been hearing rumors in Cincinnati about some issues with the Vabians. They haven't been pressuring us towards, the south where we're from. But we heard that far to the east, they've been pushing north. Is there, most I was just wondering, what's the scuttlebutt around the army? Are you concerned about this?
I'm not at liberty to discuss this freely, but on a personal level, hell yeah, we're concerned. They're threatening to take the Reach, and if they do so, one, we'll have struggle even feeding our own people through the winter, which is rapidly approaching, as you can imagine. But if they do, well, we don't have enough. And she kind of turns and looks at the soldiers, and then, yeah, it's as much as I can say about that.
No, that's fair. I understand. It's a hard situation. So much harder when you feel so far removed from the front of where that's happening.
And I could say I'm a little frustrated that we've been sent here to look at this thing instead of being where we should be right now.
Yeah, well, hopefully Cincinnati isn't too terribly impacted, but I appreciate you having that conversation with me. So that was it. I just want to have that conversation. I'll let go of that.
Okay.
The spheres that gave us the vision and the headaches,
They're still there.
it wasn't painful and damaging. It was just very disorienting and uncomfortable. And
Everybody except for you took, I think it was just 1 HP of damage for touching them. They gave them a headache of psychic damage, but not you. You didn't take any psychic damage for it. It's still uncomfortable, but not painful.
Now that the ship has healed itself slightly, I'd like to just touch the orbs one more time to see if it's still repeating the same thing, or if it's still, if any messages have changed or anything is dynamic.
You're the only one that understands this language. Sarah had to use comprehend languages to be able to hear it. But you touch one and you hear an alien scream, Nazim, and you know that the scream says, "Do not wake the pilot."
Okay, and all 3 just say the same thing?
No. You're going to touch all 3?
That's the one that I touched.
Might be.
Said do not
Yeah.
wake the pilot.
Yeah. He touched all 3 before as well, but one of the others then, if you're going to touch all 3.
I am, yeah.
Okay. The one next to that one says, "We must not allow the pilot to escape." Put that in there. There you go. And the last one, and this one, I'll tell you that is not a scream. This one is this one is somebody dying. This is clearly an Elithid's dying breath. Says this. Seal the door, protecting your axes. And based on its location, you can assume that it was the Elithid that was torn in half when it died. So.
And we still don't know what the Neuraxes was,
Yeah,
correct?
no idea. Well, shit. Give me a history check, just Nazim. All right. There you go. As you guys are standing there, Nazim is kind of running his hands over the spot on this wall where the two. Remember, each of these keyholes are 2 holes there, one that spirals inward, and he's kind of, just pretending to probe at them and science them and so on. But as you guys are kind of doing this, Sarah and Artemis, if you guys are doing anything else, let me know. But you see Norok actually climbing over the side, not pretending to, as he makes his way up onto the deck.
All right, I'm going to gather my wits about me and just slowly walk towards the door. I won't do anything yet, but I'm just making it known that I'm walking towards the door with the keys.
Okay. What's there?
I'm just keeping an eye on everything.
Okay.
around us.
Pogo's still up on the hill?
Yeah, I'm still I'm kind of. I assume I'm gonna hear something.
Well, you do see Nazim. You see Nazim approaching the door with what you know to be keys, although they do look like kind of like scientific.
Same time,
but
Pogo was confused as shit when we first found this thing, so I think he's not totally sure what good or bad things. He's got trust in the group. He'll let them figure out what they want to do.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna use the stone of our speech. Just be like, Pogo, what the hell are you doing? Get your ass down here. If something comes out of this door, we're gonna need your help.
I'm going to politely kind of pause our conversation. Perhaps I should go discuss some things with my colleagues. I'll be back shortly. And then I have no way of talking to you guys like that, obviously.
Yeah, you do.
so
You have the
I won't
walkie-talkie.
Yeah, but I'm not going to turn out and pull it out.
Oh, because right next to her? Yeah.
So I will go ahead and I will start walking cautiously away from the area where they pointed out that things attacked out of.
Okay.
Climbing up awkwardly. I can't fly! Just give me a minute! Climbing over whatever tentacles.
Yeah, the outer edge of that would be particularly difficult for Pogo to get up. So.
I'll go get him.
All right, then.
God, pull up!
Artemis, she carefully sets you down so that she can fly down to pick up Pogo.
If you want to put me wherever I'd be on the map, I'm not quite sure where I'd end up.
All right, I guess I'll gesture back now that everyone's here. Gesture back to the four of them and say, I'm going to go ahead and pop this open. I think it's best.
Can't remember. So it's 3. You can't do it by yourself, is what I'm saying. There's 3 keys, and one of them would need to be your face. One of them would need to be held by your face. If you were in a lithid, you'd have the face tentacles to be able to do that. So you don't have the extra face appendages to be able to hold the 3rd key. So you at least need one other person to do one of them. Plus, you can't reach the 2 on the sides.
I'm going to be honest. I put my face in some weird places, but this I'd rather not if I could avoid it.
All right. Well, I'm going to need a volunteer. But I think the rest of you should step back.
We can roll dice to decide who's going to. Why are we doing this again?
I think somebody should use Mage Hand.
That is a good
Mage Hand my face.
No, but you don't have to use a face. You use your hand to put it in.
I use my hand to put my face in? I mean, I've done that before too, but...
Oh, man.
You don't really have tentacles. It's okay.
I will use Mage Hand to pop that in.
Okay. It's about 10 pounds each of them, so which is Mage Hand is 10 pounds, right?
I can do a Mage Hand as well. Maybe we can use 2 Mage Hands.
Yeah, you can 2-hand it.
I've also done that before as well.
All right, Nazim, then you stand off to the right so that you can do 2 of them by yourself, one in each left hand, but you can't reach from the far left to the far right. So Pogo and Sarah, you guys manipulate the key to take it to the left keyhole. And you slot them all in, and you have to kind of rotate them clockwise until they eventually click in place. Once you do so, the shell you're standing in front of, there's kind of a brief shake under your feet. You guys feel a small tremor. Okay. Did you write that down? Make sure you write that down.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm off the room, by the way.
Okay. Then you feel the ship kind of tremoring beneath your feet as the doorway pulls back inward, as if I don't have a good description. Basically, it moves away from you. The ship, like a chunk of the shell, pushes inward away from you, and then slides upward like a sliding door that's like a roll-up desk, kind of rolls up inside. The keys
door.
Yeah, perfect. The garage door. There you go. That's a much easier description of it. I don't know why I couldn't think of a fucking garage door with that, but the door slides away with the key still inside of it. You can't get them. They're part of, they're attached to the door, so the door slides away. But you can, peering inside, see that it is pitch black inside.
I will send
Is it like magical darkness, or does it seem darker than it should be?
Not any darker than it should be, just that there is no source of light inside, and it doesn't seem like much of the ambient light from outside is getting in either.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and cast light on what is something that Nazim is wearing that I could cast light on.
His mesh shirt?
Just your mesh shirt? I'm going to cast light on his mesh shirt. Whatever fucking... So there you go. So Nazim's mesh shirt just lights up. I want to keep an eye on him, know where he's going. I feel like that's the important
Okay.
step.
All right. You guys stepping inside?
Yeah,
I'm just going to try to...
Nazim is going in, I'm following.
I've already started to step inside.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I have my rod in my hand.
Okay. Me too.
That was
shit, that was way too loud.
joke.
That was a pogo joke.
Yeah.
All right, hang on. Let me turn these down. Oh, no, I didn't need that one, but I do need this one, but that's too loud.
I'm sure I'm
I do not have a token to see the scene.
one here. But
Yeah, I haven't had
why
it
are we doing this again? Nazim, can you tell me what's going on? I came in late. I was talking to the lady. Can you just give me a heads up as to what's happening?
Yeah, we should be in here.
But why?
It's important. It's science.
No, you're not
So
me.
we know that this was like a part of the Vanguard that, was with.
I mean, is this just your
what's his
weird
face?
thing about power? Is this your power dynamic? That whole sexual thing you got because you weren't hugged enough as a child? Is that what we're doing?
I'm wearing a mesh shirt. I got enough. We're good.
Just, I want to know what are we looking for something or somebody? Or are you just not sure? You just have this sense of feeling that we should go here because there's something powerful inside this ship.
It's a neat ship. Let's see what they got. Let's check out the cabins and the engine and everything.
I'm gonna make eyes at Norok, just like wide-eyed, like with a weird, like a shoulder shrug, like, what is happening?
Real quick, what do you
Is there
guys?
still an exit? Can we leave if we want to, or is it closed?
It hasn't closed. It's still open.
All right.
There is the door behind you, essentially. Real quick, what can you guys see? There should be a door. Another. What do you mean the whole thing?
I can see one big room with a bunch of looks like computer tech screens type things on them, and then what looks like rock doors in front of us.
Okay, and that's it. You don't see anything above
Well,
that.
There's
two big
glowing
green
things.
pools.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
more.
All right, so you're not supposed to be able to see those things. What'd you say, G?
I don't see anything. It's completely blank for me. Black.
Drag us. You might need to either reload or drag a square because there's light in the room now, so you should be able to see that.
Okay.
But you shouldn't be able to see the things to the north of the door. It's okay that you do now, but I'm going to need to fix that.
See a shitload of green pools.
Yeah,
wait.
you're not supposed to be able to see those. I'm deleting them
There's a bunch
now.
of stuff past that too, which I can see. Which
Yeah.
I'll zoom back
It's okay.
in.
It's not going to hurt anything. You shouldn't be able to see all of those. So I'll just delete those out
That
for now,
is
and I'll just
weird
re-add them.
based off how this works. I don't know.
Yeah,
why
you shouldn't. Yeah, they're not set to
showing
global
just,
illumination.
yeah.
They're light sources is what they are, but they're you guys shouldn't be able to
Behind a
see
wall.
those. Yeah, behind a wall. So I'm not sure. It must be. It's one of the new lighting configurations that I didn't have. I should have tested that earlier, but I
Because
didn't.
it's also not. It has nothing to do with the fog of war because it's too specific.
You haven't been there exactly yet. Go ahead and do me a favor. Refresh real quick, guys. It's already
It just
pre-cached. So.
disappeared for me.
Okay, I did it on my side, but I wasn't sure if it would do it for you guys automatically. So
Yeah, automatically refreshed here.
cool. Ben, after you did it let you see? Like, can you see the room now?
Popping up now, so I'll see.
Okay.
Still loading it. Oh yeah, I see now.
Cool. All right. So you guys stepping inside then. Norok, once you've stepped in all the way, you can tell that the door is going to close behind you. You're still kind of blocking it, like you're in the middle of it, but you can tell, like, as soon as you kind of leaned forward a little bit, you heard the shell begin to crack above you, and the shell was going to slide down, and when you stood there, instead of moving...
Stop the immovable rod!
Yeah, so I'll just.
Who wants to shove the rod right in here? Real quick. Quick!
Yeah,
It'll be okay. It's just a garage door.
I'm like positive I don't have that.
I don't have it either, I don't think.
You had two good ones and one broken one.
Yeah, do we want to use one?
Did you fucking yeah, you want to use one?
All right, we'll go
Well,
ahead
just
and
Make
use
sure
use
we
one.
grab it on the way out.
We'll use one and we'll grab it on the way out.
All right.
So we'll fully extend it. I think it just does like what, 1 feet, 2 feet?
It's
How
1
long?
foot. Yeah, it's 1 foot
Long,
tall.
though, like,
So it's enough
I mean,
to Indiana Jones roll under the door if necessary.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, so you could do it that way. I mean, you could literally just put it in the middle of the air, though,
DM
and it'll lock in
question.
place there.
Oh yeah.
If we used an immovable rod that had both its immovable status and as the rod, and we put it vertical on the bottom, would that add any extra strength ability to it, or would it?
No, it's just
like
immovable.
Normal immovable rod. Same
It would
like-
it would be the same in that it's still immovable regardless of what whether it's vertical or horizontal or any orientation.
Okay, so we'll have it horizontal, extended full out. I'll lift it up as high as I can put over my head, so that way when the garage door closes, we still have some space.
That's
Okay.
fine. We just
Arteme, give me an animal handling check, I guess.
the fuck.
This is a bit of a stretch. The animal handling is about as best as I could come up with, I think.
Plus, we maybe leave that thing open if that little weird sparkle gremlin thing might come in too.
Yeah, I'd rather be able to just leave.
Arteme, it dawns on you that the thing you're standing inside of is alive, and if it were to move slightly, then the rod would not be blocking it anymore, and it could close.
Okay, so the rod is kind of not useful in this
Well, I
case,
mean,
then?
it doesn't. It's not. You haven't seen the shell move right now, so it's still
Sure.
probably fine. But if the thing decides to shrug slightly, then it could just move a little bit and then close the shell. Now, it could do that and have the rod stuck inside, which would really fuck things up if it tried to move more. But if it was outside, it would be fine. So just keep that in mind. It's not doesn't mean it's a problem necessarily. Just keep that in mind that it dawns on Arteme that this thing is alive, and if it were to move a little bit, it wouldn't really be blocking it
Okay,
anymore.
so we want to try and not make it move.
Or we can shift the rod horizontally and vertically to rotate it. So if it does shift forward or back, it'll be a little different. Because essentially we just put it's like laying a pencil on the ground and then let the garage door fall on it versus turn the pencil 90 degrees. So that if the garage door wiggles forward or back a couple feet, it would still hit the pencil.
Well, it wouldn't be a couple feet. The rod is 12 inches total in length. So if you were to do it, in the middle of it, let's say, it would only need to shift by 6 inches in either direction, and this thing is 150 feet long, something like that. So not a
I
huge
vote to take the
difference
rod back. What do you think, guys?
It's perfect. It's fine where it is. Just keep in mind that this thing does move. Yeah.
It's fine. Why? Why would there be any? Is Arteme sharing all this knowledge with me that we're inside a living thing?
I mean, you would already know it. You can see the things moving outside. The tendrils that are part of this.
But all right.
Arteme, are you sharing that?
Yeah, I would share it.
Okay.
No, just leave it. I mean, it's not going to hurt. And I need a nightlight. I need to know that there's a possible way to get the fuck out of here if we need to.
Would you like something stuck?
Spaces. I'm not good in enclosed spaces.
Since we know it's alive, would you want something stuck in one of your orifices to keep it open?
Yeah, that might make it
Yes,
bad.
actually, I've done that. And it's not bad.
Of course.
Yeah.
I vote to remove the rod, but I'll go with the
did it on
team.
purpose. Sako was trying to a layup. Yeah, layup.
It was pretty on the nose there.
You are in what is clearly an organic shell as well. And I say that because the sides of the walls, whereas in a building, the walls are always 90-degree vertical, essentially, right? You just have plain flat walls. And this is not. Everything is essentially round surfaces. Most of it is chitinous. Most of it feels like fingernail material, like shell, think of an armadillo shell, like that kind of material. So it's clearly biological in origin. On the walls on either side of them, while the map does give them kind of a control panel-esque kind of look, like a spaceship kind of a thing, they don't look like that really. The representation is a little more organic in shape, and that they are small indents, like pools that are glowing with this kind of very dim green. It's still pitch black in here, but you can see those even if it was lights were completely off. You could see those on either side of the room, where you could put your hand into it, and you imagine would probably be some sort of controls. So it probably serves the same function. It just doesn't look like a sci-fi spaceship kind of a thing, the way that the map kind of represents it. But apart from that, ahead of you on the other side, so that you have the shell behind you that is being held up as much space. Let me turn this one down a little bit. Sorry, these are new audio tracks and I didn't have the volume tuned in yet. Anyway, the shell behind you is being held up by the rod as tall as Nazim could reach. So it's up 8 feet because he was able to lift himself up, a couple extra inches or a little bit from his levitation, and then put the rod up to hold the shell open. So you can still see outside and everything. But to the north, the other door, well, this would actually be west. But anyways, the north part of the map here is I'm calling it a door, but really it looks more like a portcullis. So basically, imagine like rib bones that are parallel. So you just have a bunch of vertical bones that are parallel, that are also chitinous material, not actual bone. And between them are these kind of like tendons, almost these phalanges of tendons that are spread out, so that it kind of, you can't see beyond it, but it looks like the muscly material between the bones could be pushed through or moved out of the way to be able to see through if you needed to. But the kind of vertical bones themselves are too close for you to be able to like walk through it or anything. What are you guys doing?
Nazim, I can't see in the dark. Do you mind if I hang out close to you and look at some of these pools that are here on the sides, like whatever these are, these glowing things?
Let's see. I have a light. I can.
You are a light. You light up.
Yeah, you're lit up right now, and then Sarah also put up dancing lights. So there's plenty of illumination in this room.
There you go.
Case, Pogo is going to go try to figure out what these things are on the sides. These illuminated, I guess, indents on the fingernail-like surface.
Okay. All right. Pause for just a second here. Just as you start to make your way towards the side to go look at that, you see Nazim walking towards this other door over here. And Nazim, as soon as you get close to the door, it opens. And as soon as it does, anybody that's looking that direction, Nazim, you are the only one that gets a clear shot of this because the rest of you, kind of still looking around a little bit, weren't staring directly towards this door or expecting it to open. But the bone-like fingers, almost these portcullis, protrusions that are sticking up from the floor, all retreat down into the floor. And as they do this, very, very rapidly, it happens very quickly. Nazim, you staring out, see a long, almost metallic, almost like a chain that is hanging down from the ceiling with a massive barbed spearhead on the end of it lift up into the ceiling and then disappear. It was hanging down into the middle of the room 40 feet to the north of you, or on the map here to the north of you, and as soon as the kind of wall structure sunk down into the floor, you saw this kind of this like almost metallic looking, I'll tell you, it did look like a creature moving, not just a chain, but a creature with a chain-like appendage with this massive spear on the end of it, like a barb, like a scorpion barb almost. That was on the end of it. That
it was attached to the creature.
Yeah, and it lifted it. What it's probably his tail, you would gather, lifted up into the ceiling and is gone.
I'm gonna say Pogo didn't see that.
If your angle, you probably didn't. Yeah, especially if you're moving.
How much noise does this door make when he walked up to it?
It was pretty quiet. Yeah, I mean, it makes a small. Yeah, it does make some noise, but it wasn't.
I wouldn't have seen it from this angle then. Beep bop boop.
I'll tell you that the thing, the tail of the thing, that made zero noise at all. That was completely silent. Anybody that was not looking in that direction would have no idea.
Would I have seen it? Because I keep saying I'm following Nazim.
Go ahead and move yourself. I mean, if you were closer behind him when he approached that door, then you would have seen it for sure too.
I just don't trust him being alone in this ship right now.
Okay.
When I saw that, I mumbled something under my breath again, and then immediately turned towards everyone and said, "We have company," and just gestured down the hallway.
Okay.
So that way people are aware that something is here.
Okay.
Okay, well that answers my question. And I was going to ask if it was like a hole that the tail went up through, or if there's like an actual creature hiding in this chamber.
When you look up to the spot that you saw because you actually saw it too. So far, just you and Nazim, Norok and Artabegas can tell me where you were if you would have been, watching that direction. But the very small gap that it disappeared into looks too small for that tail that large, especially with the barb at the end of it, to fit through. But it seems like it did.
Did I get a sense of its scale? How large this creature is? Or did I just see it?
You only saw a tail, and the tail was probably 15 feet in length at least. Just the tail portion. And the barb was basically almost on the floor, and you watched it go from the floor up to 15 feet in the ceiling. Clearly, whatever it was attached to, you didn't see that portion of it, so it was hanging, from that point.
So Nazim at this point can assume that was the barb that shot out of the side and killed the people.
That is the representation you would guess, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm thinking maybe we should shut the door behind us. Maybe we don't want this thing out there.
Yeah, probably not. I'm going to cast Shadow Skin.
Okay. All right. Artemis, what are you doing?
I'm just going to follow and try and be careful not to touch too much.
Okay. Where would you have been when Nazim was approaching that door and it opened?
Probably. Well, I'm on the broom with Sarah, so I'd be with Sarah.
I'm not on the broom anymore.
Yeah, she got off the broom. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll just follow her with the broom anyway.
Okay. If that's the case, then you... probably wouldn't have been enough information. You may have seen, a glimpse of that tail that lifted up into the ceiling, but not enough to really gather any other information from it. How about you, G?
I would have been waiting here probably, but
by the
door.
But
then once, Nazim once Nazim mentioned that something was moving, then I'm going to start moving that way. But I wouldn't have, walked up there until he said that. So.
Okay. All right. How about you, Pogo?
Well, then walking through there, can I figure out what any of this shit in front of me is on these weird things? Like, what does it look like to Pogo's brain?
They look like it. So you're a little bit too short to actually like see them well, and there isn't, like an apple box for you to stand up on. But if you kind of just kind of carefully grab one edge and pull yourself up a little bit to actually be standing on the side, you can see looking down. They look like there's like a pool almost of greenish gelatinous like ooze essentially behind it, and there's a bunch of holes. Look naturally grown. They don't look like they're drilled or anything like that. They look like they're naturally grown in this almost countertop material that lead down into the ooze.
Can I touch it?
I mean, you can certainly try. Yeah.
I'm just gonna touch it to see what it might if it like is what it feels like and
Okay.
what it smells like if this stuff comes off on my hand and see if anything weird happens.
So you reach your hand into it. Do you know what non-Newtonian fluid is?
Yeah.
Okay,
like,
so
hard if I hit it quickly, but soft if I push my finger.
That's exactly what it feels like. Yeah. So if you basically your hand sinks into it easily enough, but if you try to move your hand rapid, like you basically put your hand in there and then not sure what to expect, especially seeing your friends move and seeing the tense situation, you go to yank your hand free and it's like stuck in there almost because it hardens when you try to move your hand too fast. So you kind of slowly pull it away and it moves fine. There's no residue left on your hand, as in none. Like it doesn't feel there's no like residue, like it's not sticky or anything like that. It doesn't even feel like water. Your hand is still perfectly dry when you remove it.
And nothing weird or bad happened. It doesn't. Like,
no, you didn't see any of the reaction. Yeah.
Interesting.
You didn't reach in super far. You feel like there could be something further beneath it, but you might have to roll your sleeve up past your elbow to reach in far enough, maybe. You can see like vague shapes beneath. You're gonna do that?
No. If everyone else is moving forward, it sounds like everyone's moving into this next room, right? Or are they kind of
headed that way?
If I would say Pogo, if he had time, he would play more around with it. If everyone else is moving into the next room quickly, he doesn't want to be left here alone since he can't see in the dark and he's not fairly comfortable. But he will be in the back end of the party.
You guys moved into the room?
I'll leave one of my dancing lights back with it as far back as I can.
Okay.
Do you think it's got to stay like 120 feet?
Yeah, you have to keep them within 30 feet of each other, I think, in one long daisy chain, if I remember right.
Just have a daisy chain towards Pogo then, I guess.
Okay. Nazim also has his own separate light on him, so he's you can still see him at a decent radius as well. All right.
My radiant shirt.
Yep. You guys heading into that room then?
Yeah.
All right, so
I'll walk slowly.
Okay. Stepping in through it, you see the representation on the floor here is an accurate representation. You do see these almost ribbed like shapes that surround these, and there's these clear bone-shaped pools with like ribs. They look kind of like ribs. It's like a torso with ribs, essentially, that are kind of sitting down into the pool. And it seems like there's what would be the spinal cord, essentially, that the ribs are attached to, is tube-like. And there's something, whatever this ooze is that's in these pools, is kind of moving up through those and into the side of this creature. And there's just a row of them the whole way back. That leads back to another door in the back there.
It was like 40 feet in?
Where the tail went up into the ceiling?
Yeah.
I'll draw a circle for you. It was about here.
Oh. So are we just gonna try to walk through and hope we don't get hit with this shit, or what?
If I may, I could take lead.
Go for it. This is your territory.
Okay, hold on a sec here. All right, what I'll do is this. I will walk very slowly forward, and with each step, I will clap twice loudly with each step, walking and making a very deliberate pattern of sound as I walk.
Okay.
So each step is 2 claps loudly.
Okay.
I'm gonna stay like 15 feet behind him and to the left.
Since I don't know what's happening, I'm gonna clap back at him as he claps.
Okay. All right, a chorus of clapping then. That be? I think that's probably maybe too far. Sarah and Nazim, give me a perception check. And Arteme as well, actually, since Arteme's moving too. Who's in the back right now? Who's the furthest back?
Far back. That's
Okay.
me.
Okay.
I was playing with the.
Yeah. I
weird
just wasn't sure if
buttons.
you would move to catch up with everybody or not.
Natural 20.
From a 1 to a 4.
Ben, yours coming. And Pogo. Oh, sorry. I guess never mind. You guys weren't. Never mind.
Just like been like right now. Been like, oh,
Yeah. Okay.
Ah, shit! Fucking
Okay.
people are gonna run back.
Nazim, there's a weird, almost aquatic sound coming from ahead of you. Almost. I don't know how else to describe that other than almost like bubbles, like bubbles in water. It sounds like it's on the other side of that door to the north of you.
I like bubbles.
Go ahead, Pogo. Go ahead and give me a perception check as well.
Let me do it.
You're fine, G.
Okay.
Pogo, there is the vaguest sense of metal scraping on something above you. Like the sound of metal scraping on probably the kind of material that you feel under your feet.
Oh, fuck. Do I see the door? Do I look up? Can I look up and see if this door is closing, like above me?
No, door hasn't moved. You don't feel the place tremble at all. You did feel the whole thing shakes when the doors open or close, either one of them, the two that you've been through now. What you heard sounded like metal being dragged across the kind of, shell-like material that the floor is made of above you.
Looking up, do I see anything?
Nope. There's a small hole that's not directly above you. That's up and to the left, like you actually walked under this hole.
Kind of look forward. Did you guys hear something weird? It sounded, I don't know, like someone dragging maybe a axe across,
Could be that tail that was in here.
Tail?
He didn't see it.
All right. I guess it could have. Well, I heard it here, maybe. And then I'm going to go do my usual. I'm going to go hide behind Orak. I'm just going to hang out here just in case. And I'm going to use my halfling nimbleness or whatever to just kind of use him as to hide behind in case anything comes from the front.
What is Arteme doing?
I'm just slowly gonna follow Nazim and try and sketch what I see, more or less.
Okay.
You guys do know that I don't think Nazim's told us why we're here, right? I'm not the only one thinking this is weird. Is anyone else?
So I'm still walking slowly while clapping, almost in a defiant Dennis Reynolds kind of way.
Okay.
And just slowly walking while still clapping.
And you just hear him from the back.
Pogo tried to clap back.
Are you follow? Yeah, I'm clapping back every time he does it because I don't know what's happening. And it feels right. I mean, Pogo's not the kind of man to just not clap again when someone claps. It seems
That's rude,
like
right?
he should be clapping. Norak, are we staying back? Ah, where did he go? Ah! Move too quick.
So just stop right there. Stop where you guys are at for a second. Ben, you probably wouldn't have let them get that far ahead, right? Before you
I'm lagging, so it's making me move really slow.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, I saw you starting to move. Everybody else stop for a second. Ben, go ahead and you probably would be just at least to the edge of Nazim's light. So here, I'll go ahead and move you.
Probably
there.
To drag because my
okay.
buttons aren't working right now.
Yeah, mine
Okay, then it's not just me then. Okay.
Yeah,
Really?
that was. I thought it was just me, but yeah,
They're barely working.
Yeah, they're working. Okay, they work fine for me, but oh, you know what? I noticed this earlier when I was doing prep. So don't move or anything yet. Or if you move, just go ahead and move yourself back where you were. But do me a favor. If you're having like if your arrow things are not working to do it right now, in the top left, click one of the other tools, like click the measurement tool, and then click back to the person tool, and then try it again. I had to do that earlier a couple of times when I was doing prep, so I wonder if that's just a new bug. Any change?
Nope.
Still nothing? Okay. All right. All right, go ahead and put yourself back, G. You were 2 to the south of that.
Right behind you.
Yeah.
Hiding.
All right. Ben, you're going to be the only one that gets a chance to respond to this specifically because of danger sense. So go ahead and give me I think it's a dex save with advantage, isn't it, for that thing?
I think so. Yeah, it gives me advantage on dex saves if I can see it coming at me, I think.
Well, this one you can't see, so if it requires that would not help.
I'll have to look. I don't know if it's just sight.
Second level, you gain uncanny sense of things when things nearby aren't as they should be, giving you an edge when you dodge away from danger. You have an advantage on dex saving throws against effects you can see, such as traps and spells. Okay, so this won't help in this case, but I would still say because of not necessarily danger sense, but even just your kind of innate ability to be aware of potential dangers, that you're still going to have advantage for this. Pogo, as tense as you are, you should have disadvantage because you can't see it, is what I'm saying. So yours will still be a normal roll for Pogo. But
and does it matter that whatever, if this is a natural thing, that's fine. But like, I think I'm hiding because of my halfling skill where I can hide behind someone else. So whatever this is wouldn't be able to see me if it's like
it's an area thing.
Got it.
So yeah, I don't think it would help in this case. If it was specific, if it was targeting you, I think so. I think that would be fine. But specifically because it's basically like swung in both of your directions.
Dex save disadvantage?
Yeah. Sorry, dex save normal, not disadvantage.
Okay.
For you. It would normally be a disadvantage because you can't see it, but because yeah. All right, so both are good rolls there.
So much
one
dex.
sec here.
Wait, I'm on the broom. Do I still need a dex save?
It's not. So it wasn't you guys. It's just because Pogo and Nazim, or Pogo and Norok rather, are in the back.
Okay.
Them. There you go. You probably have an idea of what's happening from that too, from those messages right there. Let's see. Was that with advantage, G?
Yeah, they were both the same number. They were both 13.
All right. Well,
So,
Pogo.
I can use my ring if I need to, though. Or can I?
You know, I would say that you can if you want to, but you're still going to at least get a quick chance to see what's happening here. Specifically, Norok and Pogo. Nobody else would see this. The rest of you facing northward here. Pogo, you hear that metal scraping sound again, and before you can even react, before you can even look up to the ceiling to respond to this, something darts out from the ceiling in Norok's direction, like straight at his back. And I'll go ahead and tell you that the description that you guys were given is the soldiers were speared through from the back and then dragged into the ship, remember? And this is exactly what you would expect to see. So you kind of looking up at Norok's back as you tried to kind of glance upwards towards the ceiling, don't even have a chance to see that, as you see this metal spear with a barb on the end of it with this kind of greenish hue to it, about to hit Norok in the back just as he spins in place with the very last moment, smacking the tail away with Vulcanbrecker as the tail kind of spins away like a chain and then is yanked back up into the ceiling again. There's a splash of greenish, almost acid, like caustic material that splashes onto the ground off of the tail and splashes on the ground, and you hear a hiss as it hits the ground.
It's gonna sound crazy, but I think this ship has like a weird built-in fucking kebab maker, like shooting out.
It has its own xenomorph.
I'm guessing it spear guns us and then it sucks us in and eats us for some weird reason. But
probably to heal it.
I don't know. I'm not a xenobiologist. That was your
I would
expertise, according to my lies I was saying.
Well, in that case, it probably digests them so it can heal itself.
How many holes can we see on the ceiling?
But
Are
don't
they
go-
Oh,
everywhere?
hundreds. They're all over the place. They're everywhere.
Okay. All right. Does anyone have, maybe before we go any further, something we could do about this?
What, like blocking the holes?
Feels like a warning shot.
Artemis, give me a nature check, please. There's something on the other side of that door. Doesn't feel hostile, and it feels very, like, vaguely, distantly familiar. I can't give you a better description at the moment with that, but it's basically, with the 19. It feels like there's something, what's the word I'm looking for, benevolent to you on the other side of the door that you guys are kind of near here, that is not a part of the ship. Whereas that tail thing that you guys have now seen a couple of times feels very hostile to you, absolutely. But the thing on the other side of that door that you're hearing like just these a very thin kind of aquatic bubbling kinds of sounds, the same that I think Pogo had heard earlier, maybe Nazim. You're hearing that on the other side, and for some reason it just seems distantly familiar and positive, like a benevolent creature that you are aware of but have never seen before. Maybe something you've read about or anything of that sort.
Let's open the door then.
I'm now turned around, and the back of my head is against Norok's like bottom ball sack area.
As opposed to top ball sack, none of this is good.
Yeah. No, it's just barely. Like as I start walking backwards and he's walking forwards, I can feel it kind of slap me a little bit on the top of my head. Just I want to keep an eye on this way, and he can watch the front, and I'm going to watch the back direction. I'm watching the back direction, Norok. Don't worry, and just in case.
And using his back ball sack as like a sense material so that you know where he is at all times.
That's what I'm kind of keeping my motion based on that. And then I'm just going to ready. I'm actually going to ready Eldritch Blast in case I see something flying out of one of those holes at our direction.
Okay.
Just looking up at the ceiling, especially.
Okay.
All right. I guess Nazim will continue to slowly walk towards the door. Just kind of mumbling to himself, but just slowly walking towards the door in a very Dennis Reynolds kind of way.
Can we hear him mumbling to himself?
It's under my breath.
All right.
Yeah. I am a golden god!
All right, you approaching the door though. Something seems wrong, and where the last one opened for you, this one doesn't. You're standing in front of it, like expecting. Imagine walking into a grocery store and the door just doesn't open like it's supposed to, like that kind of awkward feeling. Like, what do I do now?
Like if you're a ginger.
Yeah, but you kind of lift a hand up trying to wave it in front of it, and it's not what's not opening. You're just not sure what to do. That kind of situation. Artemis, you feel even more kind of benevolence, the surrounding benevolence that's on the other side of that wall.
Okay, I'm gonna go towards the door.
Okay. You approach it then. Pogo and Norok, are you guys staying? Like, did you guys, other than Norok hitting the tail, you guys haven't moved?
Behind Norok, facing the opposite way. So wherever he's going, I'm just following him in this direction.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then. Oh, go ahead. Well, go ahead and move yourself, Justin. Sarah or Artemis, rather, the door hasn't opened. Pogo, or goddammit, Nazim has walked up to it, and last door he walked up in front of it just opened right in front of him, but this one doesn't seem to.
Okay, does it look like there's some kind of mechanism, or?
Not a mechanism necessarily. It doesn't. You don't see anything that you would resemble that should open this thing. I'll go ahead and tell you, though, that it's the same as like the previous door, where you have these kind of vertical splines, these almost bone-like, parallel protrusions that are coming out from the floor, almost spike-like, really, although they're not sharp. And then off the sides of them are this like fibrous material, like muscle, like tendon almost, that is sticking out from the side. So I don't have a good real-world description to give you like an idea. I guess imagine like two brushes that are like where the bristles are facing each other, and you can move the bristles out of the way. That's like this kind of muscular tendony material to peek through, but the handles of brushes rather are still there. Those are the verticals that are kind of bone-like.
Okay.
but the bones have not removed themselves. They're still there.
So the door is essentially protecting what's back there.
Maybe it might be. Yeah, you don't know. Arteme is the only one who has sensed this kind of other thing on the other side. Although all of you by now can hear this kind of almost aquatic sound, bubbly aquatic sound coming from the other side of that kind of bone wall. But you guys haven't seen anything.
All right. Nazim's gonna start to lose his shit. He's gonna start pounding on the door.
Well, I mean, don't break it. If it's part of a living thing, you're just gonna make it mad. Have you tried, gently trying to move them down instead of just breaking through?
Well, I know I'm not gonna get through. I'm just hitting it.
There's nothing, along the sides of the wall on either side of the door?
Well, I mean, the same kind of weird organic material shape.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? I mean, that's there, yes.
Well, I just meant, anything out of the ordinary that doesn't look like the rest of it.
All of this is pretty out of the ordinary.
That doesn't look like the normal walls and stuff that we've seen in here.
No, nothing that really stands out.
All right. Pacing back and forth, I'm just going to start inspecting these things, seeing if I can get a vibe off of these vats or these little green whatevers.
So
I'm not actually going to physically touch it, but I'm going to kind of maybe test the waters and, dip an edge of leather into it or something just to see if it's acid or see if I can get something out of it.
Okay. Pogo, are you still staring backwards?
Yes, I'm staring the other way.
All right. You see a negative hole in space appear in the doorway and flap in your direction, coming straight in your direction.
Flap? Like an attacking
small,
thing?
No, not attacking. Small winged thing, empty, like a hole in space, flying in your direction.
Okay, so that's the
a little star whale creature.
Star whale.
Yep.
And you know what? I gotta say, Pogo's gonna assume this is a threat, and he's going to do his Eldritch Blast as it's coming at him. Okay. The thing should have known better. Sorry, random thing, but I don't know if it hurt us. But I will shoot all 3 Eldritch Blasts immediately. There's a flying thing coming at us. It looks like an invisible bat from another dimension.
You mean the thing we saw last time? That
I don't fucking know. Fuck this. Pew pew pew.
You got startled.
I did get startled, and I got Norok's balls.
I started blasting.
In my head.
We're gonna keep doing Always Sunny references, so I started blasting. Two of them. You send one, and it just sails wide, and it goes out through the doorway. The second one looks like it makes a direct impact, but it looks like it just disappeared. It went into the creature and then disappeared. Nothing happened. But it was like it shot through the doorway through emptiness into space. Essentially, is what it looks like. Yeah, that one right there. So I started blasting, and the third one also goes wide. Nothing happens. The creature just keeps floating in, and he's kind of just flapping in, and you're kind of nearby.
Clearly, just so you know, I can't hit it with my things. I don't know what's happening.
It doesn't look threatening. It is still obviously very curious what's going on here, and is just kind of flapping around, and you see the headish shape craning in different directions, looking at all of you.
Let me make a gesture towards it, like a what is it, a falconer or whatever you call it, arm up.
I'm gonna give Norok guidance.
Oh, okay, like a falconer, where it might land on your arm, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I'll just make a gesture, knowing that it probably won't do anything, but just to BS.
Who was that guidance for, Pogo?
It's for Norok. I'm gonna grab him by his upper thigh and say, "I believe in you."
Whispered into the ball sack. Nazim, you hold your arm out, and it flits over and settles down on your arm. It is completely weightless. There is no if you didn't look and see, you would have no idea that it's there. There's no smell, no sense, nothing. It's just an emptiness in space. In fact, if it was dark in here, you would have no idea it was there.
Right, now I got a pet.
See, now we just gotta get Norok a pet. Just one more.
I'm right here.
That was a good line, Justin. What's Arteme doing?
Just slowly following and keeping track of our little friend.
So you saw the little void creature land on Nazim's arm. Nazim is kind of looking down into one of these, big vats, these big greenish vats. He just settles there. You can still feel something is on the other side of that wall there, but it hasn't opened. Nothing else has occurred.
Okay.
Although, like I said, you can peel back, like the kind of tendony, fibrous material that is between the bones. You can look through that if you chose to. You just have to kind of push it out of the way, and then you can look through to the other side.
I'll go do that, and then I'll see if I can find a way to open the door.
Okay. Then in that case, you step up to the front of the these kind of bone protrusions, and then push back these fibrous material that's between it. And behind it, you see a very large, it's probably 12 feet or so off of the floor, floating in the air there, large jelly cap, a very big jellyfish-style head with an explosion of constant universes and space inside of the head, with countless tendrils hanging down from it. It looks like a giant jellyfish floating in space on the other side of the door.
Would we know what this is by
Yep.
by the Master Edition?
Oh.
Yep.
It's not the same one though, right? Because
Well, that one's like for sure dead. So
yeah, it was
that was a whole lot of dead.
Yeah.
But what you see looks like this. I'll give you guys a visual aid here if I can find the jig for it. There it is. That is what you see. It's kind of floating horizontally. It's not, or vertically rather. It's not kind of off to the side like that. It's basically like a massive jellyfish with the jelly cap. The top part of the jellyfish is this kind of nebula. It looks like just space. Very similar to what the Stargoyle that is now stood on Nazim's arm, the kind of empty void behind it. That's what you basically see in the jellyfish's head.
Okay. I'm guessing that's not the captain?
You saying that out
It
loud?
might be.
Yeah.
Sorry, I assume she said it out loud. It might be. Try talking to it.
So all of you, because of the vast erudition, you know what this creature is. This creature is what's called a Dellen's cap. It is like it as it looks. Anyways, I described it exactly as it is. It's essentially like a giant space jellyfish, kind of that kind of floats through the air. But it has a lot of very important, distinct properties that were used in the events that led up to the vast erudition, and therefore all of you know exactly what it is. It is definitely benevolent, though. It is not a hostile creature.
You should try talking to it. Didn't that Nivara lady talk to the other one when all that shit was going on? You should talk to it. Because you kind of remind me of her.
Sure. I'll just cast Speak with Animal as a ritual.
Okay. When you peeled back these fibrous materials between the bones and stared at it, it clearly took notice of you. It kind of stopped. It is kind of slowly, had been, it seems, slowly kind of twisting in space and floating. It seems like it's stuck there is the feeling that you get for it. But as soon as you kind of peel these back, it kind of stopped doing that, and you see the kind of slow settling as the tendrils that are hanging from it settle in place. You cast Speak with Animals, though, and kind of try to reach a little bit in its direction with the dental rill, and nothing happens. But as you do so, you do see one of the tendrils lift up in your direction, and you see the end of the tendril split. So basically, the end of imagine like the end of it was like a cattail, like the plant cattails, but the end of it splits open until it has essentially like 5 little fingers and a small little beak between them, like an octopus beak that is clearly like hard, and it's kind of moving towards your face.
Okay.
You just gonna let it?
Yeah.
Okay. From the Vaster edition, I'll tell you that you do know that at least this did happen on a couple of occasions in the past, like Sarah was referring to. The kind of beak-like appendage in the middle of this thing, as the tendril parts kind of wrap around the back of your head, it does break the skin, but it isn't enough to really hurt. And you immediately are flooded with images of this creature being trapped here, and it's scared and it doesn't know what to do to get out of here. It's not words; it's all images that it floats to you.
Yeah, I'll float an image of us trying to help it escape, or at least get back to where it was before. If we can help it get back home.
It flashes back an image that looks like the Stargoyle in what is probably like a natural environment for it that you can't comprehend. It's like a void. It's an emptiness that you don't really recognize or can't really make sense of, but you do recognize that it's clearly supposed to be that Stargoyle that is with Nazim, and it keeps kind of showing you that, and then showing you that it's scared, and then showing you that, and showing you that it's scared.
Okay, so are they both scared or do linked together?
Stargirl doesn't seem to be scared. It seems to be perfectly fine, but the Dellen's cap is clearly telling you to communicate with the Stargoyle to get it to help it get out.
Okay, so I'll try to speak with animals on the Stargoyle, I guess.
Okay. As you go to pull away, you kind of go to back away, and you have to kind of release the fibrous material that is blocking this doorway. As you go to pull away, you see that the Dellen's cap is holding in. There's probably 100 tendrils that are hanging down from it. It used one of it to communicate with you, where 8 of them, at least 8 that you see, have small orbs of various materials in them. And I'll go ahead and remind you that when you were all back at the Nerevaran Temple, there was an Elithid with a door basically that was like a force field that you couldn't get through, and you had to use those special orbs to put them in the right place to open it up. Do you remember that?
Yes, somewhat.
So the Dellen's cap has a bunch of orbs that look like that in its tendrils. So you pull away from it though, and you kind of release the thing. You feel like this sense of like a don't go, like it's scared as you leave it there. And kind of, let the fibrous materials resettle. What is Nazim doing with the Stargirl standing on your shoulder or on your arm?
I was actually going to see if I can communicate with it somehow, or gesture towards the vat of the pool with this thing.
You gesture. Okay, you'll need to be more specific with how you're intending to communicate with it. But as far as you gesture towards the pool, it kind of moves its head down, almost like it's sniffing the air, like a dog might, and then just leans back and kind of turns what it would be its face, although you can't see that, of course, in your direction.
What about the little spinal cord thing coming out of it? If I gesture towards that, does he do the same thing?
It doesn't react. Doesn't seem to know what to do, or what you're trying to ask.
Could I motion the star thingy, whatever we call the thing, gesture to go inside the pool?
Point towards it, I guess, and maybe point towards the pool. And it kind of gives a brief lift up off of your shoulder. Again, you don't feel any weight at all. You kind of brace yourself, expecting to feel something when it lifts off, but you feel nothing at all. And it darts down in. It is like a hawk diving. It flattens its wings down and dives straight down into it, and is gone. Norok, give me another perception check. Pogo 2.
Okay. Oh, we got something coming up from the south. Too bad I can't see it. I can hear it, maybe.
Well, that's real bad news. There's a brief scrape of metal again, and something flashes out, this time in Pogo's direction. And Pogo, neither of you are going to have much time to really, give a proper reaction to really do anything about it. You'll still get your deck save. It is a DC. I think it's a 20. Hang on.
DC 20. Ooh boy.
I think it's 20. Let me double check. It might be 18. No, it's 20. Yeah, a DC 20 con save.
Con save. God,
yeah, I thought it was a deck save. It's a con save. Oh, hang on. No. This one's an attack first. Sorry, it's an attack roll, and if it hits, then you have to make the con save. So, I'm gonna have to. I was trying to avoid clicking this for a couple of reasons here. You know what? I'll just roll it manually. That's what I'll do. Let's see. It is plus 10.
Darn it! Oh, poo.
Well, shit, a 29 will hit. God damn it, it still has a fucking name on there. That was my fault. Anyways, here, I'll just click the thing, since I already did it anyways, but it was a 29 to hit. 29 will hit, I assume?
Yeah, it will hit.
All right, it is 46. I'll just click the thing, since I already did it anyways. Might as well get the damage now.
Con save? Yep,
con save. 15 damage and a con save, DC 20. You can just click the button now that I already put it there.
Oh,
All right. Well, Norok, you hear just a briefest flash behind you, and a pained, jumbled sound from Pogo as he kind of collapses forward on himself as something spears him through the stomach. You spin around and see that same tail yank away, just drags across the floor like metal, like a chain being dragged across this ribbed floor, and then lifts back up into the ceiling again. And Pogo is frozen in place. He's like severely paralyzed and collapsed over on himself.
Am I actually paralyzed so I can't talk or anything?
Yep, like completely paralyzed, like seizing, like this kind of white poisony, white not saliva, like vomiting a little bit, like this stuff coming out of his mouth. There you go. Only 14 damage, it's not huge, or 15 damage rather. Okay. So not a huge amount of damage, but he is paralyzed, and you don't know what to do about it. What are you guys doing?
Right, so we should figure out how to get this door open. I'm just gonna walk up to the door and see if I can't like wiggle the bones at all. See if they're kind of loose.
Okay. They don't appear to be loose at all. They appear to be solid. But as soon as you kind of push your hands through the fibrous material to grab the edges of the bones, you feel one of the tendrils of the Dellin's cap on the other side kind of brushing at your hands, and you get that same sense of this thing is scared and wants out. It's trapped.
Can I see if it knows how to open the door? Is it like... Yeah, I'll just see if it knows how to open the door.
Sorry, so I had to send that. It gives you flashes then. You feel kind of a piercing, very sharp, a very brief, piercing the skin of your finger. And it flashes orbs through your eyes, or like a vision of these little small orbs that look familiar, like you guys had worked with in the Nerevarine Temple. And then it flashes the Starcoil, like the same kind of unknowable void of this thing flying happily through it that you recognize as the little creature that was just there with Nazim, who is no longer there.
Hey, Nazim, where'd that thing go?
Nazim told him to fly off, so that's what he did.
I was trying to talk to it.
Yeah, he fell.
Yeah, sorry. So, Arteme, you were turning to go, try to speak with animals at it, and while you were talking, as you turned, while you were talking is when Nazim was, trying to communicate with it, and he told it to jump into the pool, and that's what he did. So by the time you turn and look, he just dived down into the pool. So, was trying to kind of give everybody a chance to do something if they chose to there.
Do you know how to get it back? Because we kind of need it to get the door open.
Y'all, I'm fucking paralyzed down here. Does no one notice?
Nobody doing anything about Pogo like vomiting up and like choking on vomit laying on the ground?
Fine. I'm like,
well, I can try and do a quick gesture to see if it can come back out. If not, plan B.
I guess we'll just leave Pogo. He's
I
fine.
don't have anything to bring him out of this, so...
I'll carry him with me.
Okay. All right. Well, Norok, you go to grab him, and he's kind of doubled over on himself. You can see blood pouring out from his stomach where this barbed tail end of the spear stabbed him.
Is
you
he
can see
poisoned or something?
Yeah. You can see that it didn't go through his back, like it didn't spear through the way that it was described in the or the way that the soldiers were described. This was a biological material. It seems like it was intending to inject him with something.
Okay, I'm going to use detect poison on.
Okay. It feels like it isn't. It's more acidic, I guess, if that makes sense. It is a natural material, though. It's not arcane or anything.
Okay, so I'm gonna use cure poison.
Okay. Do you have
the first one I did as a ritual, and the second one I'm gonna do as a spell.
because the ritual adds 10 minutes, so that's a long time.
Aren't you curious to see what would happen?
Click the spells that you're using. It's not a chest burster, yeah, not like that. I mean, it went in rather than coming out, so I guess if left, untreated, maybe. I don't know if it was injecting eggs or not.
I just need to find it because it's in my huge list, not my small list.
Yeah. Let's see.
I'd already put protect from poison on him though.
You
I think,
did.
I think paralyzed is different from poison, though.
Well, yeah, but it was a poison that was used to paralyze you, though. You touch a creature. If it is poison, you neutralize the poison. If more than one poison affects the target, you neutralize one poison that you know were present in it. Well, in that case, technically the choking one. For the duration, the targets had advantage on saving throws against being poisoned and resistance to poison damage. So, in that case, you would actually have had resistance or advantage on the con save for the poison, since Fox put protection on you first. So go ahead and roll the con save again.
Let's see if that matters for the 20.
Yeah, it was a DC 20. Like that attack doesn't do that much damage. He does have some very heavy hitting ones, but not with an 11. Yep. So still paralyzed. But that's potentially very huge, Fox, because he does have some other poison abilities too. And that lasts for an hour. Is that concentration, Fox?
No, it's just I just touched them and that's it. It's not concentration, which is nice. That's why I was able to put on everybody except for me because I already have protection from poison from one of my feats.
That was just. Oh, I must have had it up on your. Oh, that's right. Yeah. You have it from the medicine one or whatever, huh?
Yeah.
Let me find it again here. Either way, you still wouldn't have made the save. But as far as detecting it, that one is already 10 minutes. So are you going to spend 10 minutes doing that? That's a 10-minute cast on that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he already has like thing. I can't cure.
Well, so I'll go ahead and tell you then.
We have time for 10 minutes.
Yeah, so 10 minutes.
The duration's only 1 minute on the poison, isn't it?
Well, you guys wouldn't know that. Yes, exactly. You guys wouldn't know that, but the poison would still be in his system enough for Artemis to be able to identify it. When the 10 minutes is up, but he would be potentially able to move. With 9 minutes still left in the ritual. That said, it isn't like the place is going to just stop for 10 minutes. So, what is everybody else do? Well, shit, we're at time anyways. Damn it. I was trying to get to like a good stopping point here. Real quick, I guess, just a quick round of what do you. So Artemis is doing that to try to detect the poison that's in Pogo. Pogo, you'll be awake again in 1 minute, so you still have a little bit. What is Norak doing?
Guarding Pogo. I'm actually carrying him. Well, I'll probably set him down so Artemis can check him out,
okay.
but I'm guarding him, and if I need to, carrying him. So.
All right, and Sarah?
I'm gonna run over to the pool where Nazim is and cast Mage Hand in there and try to gesture out of the fucking pool.
Okay.
Get the thing back.
I'll tell you that you don't see or feel anything at all. You don't know if you would. You feel like the mage hand might pass right through it anyways, but you don't think that the Starboil is in there. Like Nazim pointed down and it went down, but it didn't stop at the bottom of the pool. It didn't have any reason to think that's where Nazim was intending to. It's just gone. It just flew down through the bottom and it's no longer there. So, what is Nazim doing? And then we'll call it there.
I'm going to call an audible. I'm going to attack one of the spines coming out of that pool.
Okay. All right. Then we will pick up there next week. Let's see. What is next week's the 26th? Was that one of you had? Oh no, that was Justin. Didn't you have something like early? Was that early April? I don't remember.
I don't think I have anything for next Saturday. I'll let you know if I find out.